I find myself by myself all of a sudden, and I don't know where everyone's at. They've kind of moved on, and I'm high as fuck now. I can't even like feel my hands or my feet enough, and I'm just tripping. People are starting to recognize me from the podcast, and I'm just on full-on panic mode. So all I did was I grabbed the lawn chair, I put it like in the middle where all the barbecue was taking place. I got to ride this out for the next 4 hours. Just sit here, don't move. I sat there like this with my hands on the arms. I put sunglasses on. I didn't move for 4 hours, and my wife would check on me once in a while. She's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "I just got to ride this out." I would just sat there.
We call that pulling the ripcord.
The other girl goes, "What kind of a loser would smoke a joint and come to the gym?"
No way.
But I can tell you now, like with the conversations I've had with the top judges in the sport, Tyler, Bill, Jack, all the top guys right now coming up, everybody just wants what's best for the sport, and there's no influences in any way. Everyone's doing this for the right reasons. They want to do the best they can, and they want the sport to advance. But when you're judging like Samson and Hottie and physiques like at that level, I have to go pose for pose because like it's that close. Like one of them's not overpowering the other. The crowd sees that and gets into it, and everyone gets into it, and the competitors get into it. But as a judge, like we get excited, super excited.
Yes.
Like you feed off that electricity. Those are the best moments as a judge.
Welcome, Paul, to the D2 podcast. But around the table, we have Zach Blachik, Nick Justice, Lance Hefter, myself, Zach Devo. Behind the camera, we have Luke. And ladies and gentlemen, Gym Bros, Stoners, and Legends of Iron. This is a big one. Today, we've got a true OG of the bodybuilding world. He's an IFBB and NPC judge, a man with the front row seat to some of the best physiques on the planet, and he's about to be judging at the Arnold Sports Festival. But that's not all. He's a staple voice over at the Bro Chat podcast, one of the most legendary bodybuilding podcasts out there. Best friends with the podfather himself, Fouad Abiad. If you're into bodybuilding, weed, or just great conversations, this guy is the dude. And on top of all that, he's one of us. A man appreciates the finer things, good buds, great lifts, and even better laughs. Please welcome to the Dumbbells and Doobies podcast, the one, the only, Paul Lauzon.
Lauzon.
Damn it! What the fuck? It wouldn't be the D2 podcast if we didn't fuck something up.
That was a hell of an intro.
Yeah, that was a great intro. Thank you, whoever wrote that. That was beautiful. I'm very honored.
You did really good.
That was me. That was Zach.
That was a great
my heart was about to explode. I thought that was my. I was like, I'm gonna fuck this up the whole time, and I got the name wrong.
You did all of it good until the last part, the last word.
My brain sees your name and it doesn't want to say low. The A is such an asshole.
To be honest, my last name is French. I don't really recognize my French heritage though, because I wasn't brought up that way. I was brought up Italian. So I don't know anyone on my dad's side. So I don't have any French relatives that I know of. So I was brought up around my mom's family, which is 100% Italian. So I just thought I'm Italian, even though the last name is very French. But the way you're saying it, I think is the proper way to say it in French. But like I don't recognize my Frenchhood.
And Italian's cooler.
Fuck them. Italian all the way.
We got two Italians. Let's go.
My last name is DeValcanair, and it's 13 letters long, so no one ever can say it. So I'm right there with you. All right, so we have a lot of stuff for you, Paul, tonight.
I'm ready.
We're really excited to have you on. Quick recap. So we like to go around and say something that went well this week. So we're going to go around the table and we'll include you on it. And then we have a bunch of topics we're going to touch on with you. All right.
All right, let's do it.
So Zach, how was the week?
It was good. I fell down the stairs.
Oh my God, going into the bat cave.
Yeah, so I had like those like pajama pants, like those really baggy ones, and I was just making my protein shake, walking down the stairs. Dog, it felt like I tripped on a legit banana peel. It was one of those falls where like you just kind of knew you had no control after you're about to go down. So I was at like the top stair, and I counted the stairs. There was 10 of them. I didn't put 1 foot on 10 of those stairs. That was my back the entire way down.
Was it a roll or a slide?
It was a straight slide, bro.
Really?
I slipped, and thank God that I actually have back muscles, because if I didn't, I swear to God, I would have been snapped in half. Or I even said it to you, I was like, damn, like that could have legit like put an old person into like a coma.
Damn. Holy
Not even gonna lie. When I was just rolling down the stairs, I was like, all right, I can't really stop myself, so here I go. And I was just sitting at the bottom of the stairs. I was just like, oh my God. Like, all of it kind of hit me when I hit the ground. But then when I got up, I was like, all right, I think I'm good. Like, I didn't really feel anything. The day after, though, was rough. The whole left side is so sore. I need a massage for sure.
Paul, our last episode, we did a quick little tidbit on who our next guest might be, and I just said tile foot, and I had like 30 people message in. They go, Paul. I was like, damn it, I made it too obvious. You got too famous over that.
Yeah. It's funny. I haven't had it in a while either. It hasn't flared up in a while.
It's good to hear.
Can you elaborate on what tile foot is?
Yeah. So my wife changed the kitchen floors on me a couple years ago.
Randomly just fucking
The fuck?
changes
She
them
didn't
up
tell
like
you at
that.
all?
Well, she talked about it, and then one day I came home and the project had already been started.
Oh God.
She got these like really hard white cold tiles. I don't know how else to describe them.
Yeah.
And they just fucking beat the hell out of my feet. I used to always walk around barefoot, and then like after like 2 months of these floors, all of a sudden I had this like it was a reoccurring, almost like a callus, I guess you would call it, on the top right corner of my right foot. But my right leg is a bit fucked. My stride on my right leg is a little bit different than my left leg. So I think like I'm kind of walking the edges of my feet, especially my right foot. So it was constantly getting pounded on these floors. And then this problem would keep coming back. I'd have to go to the foot doctor. She'd have to shave it off, fucking clean it up a little bit, and have to keep going to see her like every 6 weeks to get this done. So I finally put 2 and 2 together, figured it was the floors.
Put on my investigator cap.
So I started doing some Googling on it, and it's an actual thing. So the main recommendation was wear indoor shoes from now on, which I did. I got some Crocs, which really helped a lot, and the problem's pretty much gone away now.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Crocs
Wow.
solved some serious
Crocs.
foot issues. Yeah.
Tile doesn't seem like the most comfortable thing to walk on, so it does make sense. Tile, like if it's sharp, yeah.
Yeah.
They take a little getting used to, I found.
Yeah.
But once your foot is used to them, there's nothing like it.
Do you still have the issue, or did you still have the issue when you'd be on like regular hardwood floors at all?
It got so bad, man. It didn't matter what kind of floors I was on for a while.
Damn.
It hurt. But yeah. So, but yeah, it would hurt everywhere. And then finally, though, like after a long time of wearing indoor shoes, now it's gone away. It hasn't come back.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
This is gonna be titled Paul's feet.
Anyways,
Paul, you'll make a fortune.
anyways, we're gonna get back on track. Nick, how was your week?
Dude, it was good. I had a fantastic week of training going into the Arnold Classic week, which we'll discuss in this podcast. But overall, man, it was a good week. Just got a lot of stuff done at home that I wanted to get done. Great time seeing you guys. I think the highlight of my week was definitely when we all smoked outside the gym the other night, and then we hit arms. That was fantastic.
We had a great arm.
Yeah, so it was overall just a good week, man. Nothing too crazy happened. I'm just getting ready for the Arnold, dude. I'm so excited for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Paul, you had a question?
You guys smoke before you train?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Best. I don't do it as often anymore. Well, like when I train with Fouad, like the days that I don't train with Fouad, I always do, and I have a great workout.
Oh yeah.
Even though he doubts that I do, but
Paul, people don't realize you train hard as shit.
thank
Oh
you,
yeah.
thank you. I try to.
No, so we have a tradition as a group. Like when we get off work on Friday night, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock at the gym. Everybody brings a pre-roll, and then we all smoke out on the back porch of the gym. And then we roll in just baked as shit, and we'll just all be barking in different corners, having great workouts because you're locked in so hard on the workout.
Paul, we went through 3 joints the other day before we're training, and Lance and I hit arms. Devo was done with his entire leg workout and cardio, and me and Lance were still so high that we were just killing arms still.
2.5 hours of arms.
Yeah, you can train way longer when you're high.
Bro, it was fucked.
He just kept going like you want to do another top set. I'd be like, fuck yeah, why not?
It was a good time.
But fuck, other people when they come to the gym, they got to walk through your guys' cloud of smoke on their way in.
Oh, they bitch about
Yeah,
it. They
yeah,
bitch.
yeah.
They bitch.
Paul, we're the villains of this gym.
Yeah, we kind of have a villain arc going. We kind of make them deal with our shit.
That's cool. That's cool. Close to each other, though. You guys can all train together.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
Like
the best.
15 minutes?
you guys have really inspired it to be like really in the moment with these times, because you and Fouad always talk about it, and we're all young, our schedules align pretty well. We have a gym that has some of the best equipment in the world in it, and they let us smoke out back. So we're like,
So fuck it.
Yeah.
fuck it, we got to take advantage every week and every day that we can on it.
And it's now we all live so close to each other that it's so much easier to meet at one place at a certain time.
Effortless.
You know, so it's like, and just hearing Fouad and Paul speak about it on the podcast, like they were training partners even right when Fouad was starting to get into bodybuilding. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's where all of us are at right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
We have our own
So-
crew.
Yeah, you know what, man? Like I forget sometimes like how lucky I am to have a training partner. You know, I can train with every day. Like you can't build that kind of bond with someone, I don't think. You know, any other way. Like it doesn't have to be bodybuilding necessarily, but when you train with someone every day and push yourself like that and see them progress, and you progress, and especially in Fouad's situation, got to see him like become one of the best bodybuilders in the world. Like it's an experience I'm lucky to have had, and you guys are lucky to have the experiences you guys are building right now.
I could agree more. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like I said, you guys have been kind of the big inspiration, because when we were all becoming a friend group, we've only been a friend group for like 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
I was coming out of military. Nick was coaching in Whitewater. Then you moved to Milwaukee. Lance, you had just moved to Milwaukee. Zach was in South Milwaukee, and we all didn't know. We knew of each other, but didn't know each other. And then Lance approached me and was like, "Hey, you got some okay size. Let me put you into a show." And he's like, "Let's do a bodybuilding prep." And so I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "I'm going to do it for free. I want you to be my first bodybuilding client." And then Nick kind of got in touch with him to kind of help him oversee it. And then Zach kind of helped with posing. And then we all realized everybody else kind of sucks.
We just had a really
were like,
strong connection.
We're the
right off
only
bat.
ones that want to get high and just train and not bring alcohol or drama into the situation. Like, we just want to
I think
train really hard, eat good food, and get super ripped.
I think that happened in Florida when we took that trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I did nationals down in Florida, in which I got obliterated. and it was the bonding trip we all needed.
That's awesome. That's
We all
awesome.
took- we all took that loss together, baby.
Yeah, tough L for the team. All right, I want to get Lance's story in real quick before we dive into the
Oh,
topic.
Jesus Christ.
How
We're gonna
was
tell
your week, Lance?
Yeah, Lance.
Paul,
All right.
Paul, just wait.
What'd you do
This
this
is gonna be
week?
fucked.
All right. Well,
Let's just.
Can I go inside and get on the laptop?
yeah.
Go for it.
That is crazy. You just get to train with a buddy and you don't realize, God damn, that's actually happening to us right now. That's crazy. Holy shit, bro. That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God, dude.
When he said that, I was like, wait, that's actually. It didn't really click for me until now.
That's what I was saying. And I was
Yeah.
like, you guys have been
That
a huge
is
inspiration
that
for us. Like,
is
that's
that
why
the
I-
end goal, right? Like that's the end goal.
What?
Olympia.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is that where you think?
Sure,
That's
bro.
where you
Why
think?
not?
I know.
that's-
I
Do you think that's like where, like, God? I guess we never even. I feel like I've
we can
never
talk
even
about it on
asked
the
that.
podcast. We
Yeah.
can talk on
Yeah.
the
I
pod.
guess I've never even thought about asking you that.
We can do it on this podcast.
Just
if you
because you're
want.
getting like so much like heavier,
Yeah.
it's
We have
crazy to
filler time
see,
we can
dude.
just
It's
put up.
Okay. Good idea. Oh yeah, because that shit's still recording.
Yeah, everything's recorded.
it's gonna be nuts to see. Because what do you weigh right now?
293.
293.
So
And you're such a
my
big
goal
frame
when I was
to fill
men's
out.
physique, my goal was because Cam was like, dude, I think you can win pro shows and make it to the Olympia.
Yeah.
And so like that was always my goal, and I still like men's physique, but I definitely am not men's physique anymore. I grew out of it so quick after prep.
Quick.
So like after prep, that's when I was like, wait, okay, if it was our goal to, and we thought it was actually possible to win pro shows,
Yeah.
and make it to the Olympia, which was a goal. I was like, if I'm putting on weight so much right now, like why don't I just step that goal up to another division?
Yeah.
Same thing. Why not why limit myself to men's physique
Yeah.
when it's just going so well? So it's like I just want to be amongst the best, and be competitive that way.
How big do you think you're gonna have to get
There he
in
is.
an off season
I'll-
to
I'll have to get to 340 plus probably.
340?
Yeah, man. I have so much to fill out in terms of
Look at
my
his
height. I'm
structure. Look how wide
6'2".
he is.
I'm 293. Yeah, so it's like even Cam and I talked about it yesterday. He's like, because we were going over some poses, and he's like, yeah, dude, we have so much tissue to put on. We're still so far out from your debut that we're just chilling with what your body's giving us. Like we're not stressing at all. It's gonna happen in time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm still far out because we didn't have that much to make progress on.
I guess I was just a side note because I guess we all just kind of like I know you want to go pro. Obviously, I know you want to be a pro coach. I don't know if you want to be a pro bodybuilder. Do you want to be a pro bodybuilder still?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
kind of have something in
Yeah.
store.
100%.
I guess we've just never actually like asked you how far you wanted to go, because I guess the pro card was the big thing, and we never were like, "Are you trying to get to the Olympia?"
I think that's
like,
naturally
what's
the first level of
That's-
like engagement
that's what you
that
thought?
you're looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I could say like what everybody else says, like, oh, we got to win a pro show first, but it's in my mind, it's like I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like if things are clicking right now with where we think my body's gonna go, I'm like, why would I not have big goals
You said-
to be amongst the best?
You said open.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
might happen to the point where, like, let's say, we start a prep for my pro debut. It may happen where I lose. I get to a spot. I'm like, dude, you're only 15 pounds away from a classic weight cap. We could do classic. That might just happen too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we gotta have to see how I look like with all this tissue dieted down, where my weight cap would be. But right now, it's looking like the weight cap is getting exceeded well beyond where we would have to hold right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Paul, have you heard how much this guy weighs?
Well, I saw your last one of your pictures recently. That you're looking huge. I know you're close to 300, or were you
Yeah.
300?
293.6.
Fuck, Nick, how much weight you put on since last year?
Bro, since I saw you get, oh no, I didn't see you at the Olympia. That's right.
I wasn't there.
So at the Olympia, I was like 255, and when I turned pro in July, I was 217. Paul.
That's crazy.
Fuck, Nick.
Yeah,
You're like
So-
morphed.
when I saw you, last time I saw you was at Detroit, and when I was in Detroit, that was on prep. I was about 10 weeks out on prep at that point, and I'd say I remember it because I had my lowest weight. I was 247 in Detroit.
Okay.
So last
So
year,
you're
yeah.
up 50 pounds from last time I saw you. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
super impressed the last. Yeah, I don't know. You're wearing some jogging pants. Your quads were fucking busting out of them. You look massive in the picture I saw.
I've torn more jeans from that point on till today than I've ever torn in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's like
You
I
got
thought
the
it,
frame
I
for
thought it
it,
was
though.
bad back then.
You got the frame for it though, and then we talked about it before, like, what you're going to do. Like, you knew you weren't going to stay in men's physique, but yeah, like I think you've blown well past classic proportion, not proportion, size now.
And at the
You got
same
the shape
time-
still though.
Right, the shape. Like I want like the mass with class, because my 300 doesn't look the same as somebody that's 5'10's 300.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's like
yeah.
we're still keeping that focus of, okay, we're putting on this much size, but we're just gonna do it at a pace where it's realistic, not detrimental to internal health, but also blowing my physique out at a young age. So we're just riding into it and just seeing how it happens. And I'm very happy that we're keeping the aesthetic and putting on so much size while pretty freaking lean still.
Yeah. You have a show in mind at all, or you just ride it out right now?
No, we're just riding it out to see how big I can get while keeping everything in check. Health markers, body composition, the aesthetic, the shape, everything. So I'm definitely not going to prep in 2025. If anything, maybe the later end of 2026, depending on how my growth phases go.
You think about maybe doing like just like a practice, like not a full prep, but maybe a practice 6 week, 8 week little mini prep, just to see what how much of the tissue you're going to keep.
I'm sure what we're gonna do until we get to figuring out my show debut or my pro debut. I'm sure that within that time period, there's gonna be a cleanup phase. We're gonna get pretty freaking conditioned just to see where things are at, and then from there come out into another growth phase if we need to grow some more. So that's one thing that I'm big on with coaching is like those mini cut periods. Even if the body composition is or is not out of hand, but like same with my coach too. He's like that's going to be inevitable with how we're going to have to push to these new heights.
I was gonna say our friend group's really like they're all coaches, and we're really big on those mini cuts to make sure we're all at the same spot.
And
Well,
it's
I think it really makes a lot of sense for you because you put on all this new tissue now, but you're probably not sure though if you're ready for pro open bodybuilding yet. So
Right.
maybe a little mini cut just to see where you're at, see how much of the tissue you're holding on to. I think it'd be a great idea for you, especially if you have nothing but time. You're so young.
Exactly. So no, that's the plan, man. And I'm glad that you can corroborate that that's a solid plan. So that makes me feel good, especially from what we're going to get into with the podcast today. That your profession, IFBB judging. So it's really cool to hear you say that.
Am I supposed to tell the story?
Oh, okay. So before
Shit.
we got off topic when you were
Yeah.
switching to your computer. So we're gonna get back to Lance's story and how his week went, and it's pretty unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, fuck. All right, you're going to love this. So, long story short, I got a little knot in my lat this week from training, and it has just been, like, bugging me to the point where, like, you can't even lay down comfortably because, like, you just feel it pulling, like, on that left side around your chest. So, just, it's been driving me nuts. long story short, couldn't get into any of our guys that actually do like real good deep tissue work. So I last second went and purchased a massage. And I go to this one location and I pull up. They go, well, we're fully booked. And I was like, all right, well, where do you want me to go? And they're like, we got another place 10 minutes down the road. I drive 10 minutes down the road. I walk in, say hi to the lady. Not a lick of English. Not a lick of English. And I was just like, deep tissue. And she's just like, okay, room number 4. And I was just like, all right. So I go to room number 4. No instructions, right? Usually you would think at like a massage place that, they offer you, like a water, like a robe, like here's where you go get changed. No fucking instructions. Lady walks in 25 minutes later and she's just like, oh, you still have your clothes on. And I was just like, all right. So I was like, okay. But she stayed in the room and I was looking at her like, are you going to get out? Like, I got to change that. And I changed, and I told the guys she probably got me more hyped up about my physique than anyone in a very long time because she went up to me, grabbed my shoulders, and she's just like, beautiful muscle. And I was just like, fuck yeah, beautiful muscle it is. That's right.
Yeah. I feel like
I was like, someone fucking notices. Nice to see. And, so I lay down. We get started and everything, and then she's working on my back and whatnot, and then she like pulls my underwear down like past my ass cheeks, and I was like, all right, well that's new. But I thought she was gonna throw an elbow in my glutes, and that's what she did. So I was like, shit, all right, this feels pretty good. But then after she threw the elbow in my glutes, she proceeded to just take my underwear like off me, and I was just like so lost in the moment that I was just like, all right, I guess we're gonna get into it. I was like, I really don't know what the fuck to do. So I've got like a little piece of cloth just covering my ass cheeks, and she's working her way up my adductors, and needless to say, that hand definitely bumped into the old piece a few times, and
That's insane.
I was like, I really don't know what the fuck to do, but I just laughed because then she kept trying to flip me over. She kept grabbing around my waist and she's like, flip over. And I was like, no, like I just came here for the fucking knot in my back. I didn't expect.
Not to be assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I was like,
for real.
I didn't expect her to give me the old bump and tug, but she kept trying to flip me over. And I was like, no, just dig out my back. And it was just, I've you hear about it in stories and in movies. You never actually expect it to fucking happen. And I will say, for if that's what females feel like, that's fucking that's some of the most overwhelming shit.
Is this
to
gonna
experience.
scar you from getting another massage?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. She did say
yeah,
every
Paul.
10.
Oh,
She
yeah.
did say every 10 massages, one free. So the free one might be a
Shit,
happy ending.
Work up to the free ones. See what it comes with. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
that's
That's crazy.
oh my god, it was a hell of an experience. That's a first timer for me.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Back in back a few years ago. Well, it's going back more than a few years ago now. I'd say it's like maybe closer to 20 years ago. For a little while, they legalized prostitution in Windsor, the city I live in.
No shit.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Because Windsor's always been a big border town, like because Detroit's right here, and like so a lot of Americans come here for the bars now because it's 19 drinking age here, 21 in Michigan. And strip clubs here too were huge at one time because they were totally nude here, whereas in the States they would have to leave, like I think they had to leave their bottoms on or something.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's actually how I met Fu. I work in the strip club industry.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, wasn't he a bouncer? He was a
Yeah,
bouncer?
we both were. I worked there
hell
first,
yeah.
and then he worked there after me.
Oh, that's
So anyway, they used to they legalized prostitution for a while. So they all of a sudden all these massage parlors popped up downtown, and that's what they were, rub and tugs. But these girls would like sit on the front porch and like lure guys in.
Really?
It was crazy, man. It was like fucking.
Jeez.
It was
I
like
bet
like a
that-
red light district.
Oh my god, I bet that was like fishing with dynamite. Just a couple sweet pieces, just barking at dudes walking down the
I
town.
wonder how many marriages were ruined that year.
the divorce rate was probably astronomical.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like there was, and they were all over the place, But like I don't know. Like back then I was single, but I never went to one in all honesty because my biggest worry was
Good job, Paul. Good job.
I'm gonna be thanks. I'm gonna be caught up by somebody walking the street to go there. One of my friends would be walking by. I'd be like, "Hey, Paul, where are you going?"
Yep.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
Now they got dirt on you if they ever witnessed that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right. We're going to dive into I'm taking over this first section. So this first one, we kind of want to talk about, like Nick mentioned, everyone listening knows that you are a pro judge. So right out the gates, I kind of wanted to dive into that. So how long have you been a judge for, and what got you into judging?
I started judging in 2000. At the time, you guys ever heard of Nimrod King?
No.
Nimrod was he was a Canadian pro bodybuilder, but at the time one of the top in the world. Nim lived in Windsor for a little while, where I live, and we became good friends. And Nim at the time was regional director for the Ontario Bodybuilding Association. And I had just been like, I used to compete. I did my first show at 19. I did a couple shows when I was 19, and then I kind of got out of the sport for a bit when I was like 21 ish. But then when I met Nim, started hanging out with him and training with him, I kind of got back involved in the sport, and he needed judges at the time. So he asked me if I was interested. I did test judge a couple shows. I had another close friend, my friend Darren, that was also a judge at the time. He was a higher level judge. So they kind of took me under their wing, and that's how it all started for me.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, man. How did you do in your shows?
When I competed?
Yeah. Like the earlier shows, like when you said you were like younger.
Yeah, I won my first show. I won my first the weight class of my first show when I was 19, and then the next year, that same year, back then we used to have junior Ontarios, junior Canadas. So this was a junior regional show that I did, a level 1 show, we would call it, I guess. So I won my class there. I didn't do open; I just did juniors. Then I went to junior Ontarios, came fourth, and then the next year I came back and won the overall at that show,
Nice.
and then. At that time, we used to have 4 levels in Canada to turn pro. So I did level 2 the year after, where I got smoked. That was a show that I've told the story before. I don't know if you guys have heard me tell it, but Greg Kovacs was in that show.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like,
What a guy to see backstage.
and he didn't even win. There was another guy who's even better than him. This guy named Freddie Ntiwi, who is involved in the industry in Canada still. Freddie was he was like Flex Wheeler. Like he was just like perfect proportions, beautiful physique. And he ended up beating Greg. So anyways, like I just felt like I was out of my league, and I needed to find a new sport.
What made you get out of it? Because I know you said you moved out of it
That
for
show.
a little bit.
That show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That loss took him out of commission for a bit.
Yeah, I was like, man, these guys are bodybuilders. I'm not a bodybuilder. So I got a job, and then I started getting back in the sport a little bit later. I mean, I started judging shortly after that. A year or two after that, I started judging, and then that slowly got me back into competing again.
What kept you judging? Like, was it to stay connected with the sport, or is there a certain what's that connection of like, yo, I really like the challenge of this? What really hooked you into it?
I've always loved bodybuilding since I was a kid.
Right.
Like my dad used to buy the Weider magazines. My dad used to work out. That's what inspired me to get started.
Yeah.
And so I was very aware of all the pros and sort of the upper echelon in that of bodybuilding. So I was always very involved with the sport, always very aware of who was competing, what shows, who was winning. I never lost that interest. I just lost the interest to compete because I didn't think I was good enough after I did that show and got smoked.
Yeah.
So being involved as a judge was cool. I really enjoyed it again. I started getting that passion back. And then after a few more years, just the passion started to build. And by that point I had met Fouad, but I didn't really know him yet. I just met him through the strip club and that. And then I just went up to him one day and asked him to coach me. And and then that's how our friendship started too.
That's so cool. Then your name starts getting bigger with the judging and everything.
We had a panic attack.
Yeah, that was really weird.
We were watching, so we're on a Zoom call, and on all we saw, Paul, was you, and you were just like diving into a topic, and all three of us were looking back and forth because on the top right it said how much time we had left to record, and it felt like a fucking bomb was about. I'm like 4 joints deep, and I'm like, God fucking damn it!
I almost puked.
The one fucking time we actually have scripts and we're so prepared, Zoom just decides to go, nah.
2, 1.
I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding.
I almost threw up like 3 times. I was reaching so hard, like, please no, don't do this.
Well,
to me.
like Devo and Luke were working on the laptop to fix it while we were all talking,
feel.
and it felt like I was watching 2 guys in like a fucking Tom Cruise movie trying to like fix the
Mission
switches
Impossible.
before the bomb goes off. And I'm like, we're gonna lose it fast.
All 3 of us were just trying to keep the combo going.
I was pretending.
We paid for Zoom Plus last time. We just
fuck.
had Jordan Plantico, IFBB Pro on, and we paid for Zoom Plus, made sure it all worked, and then When we sent you the email, for some reason it rendered through his email. So I was like, weird. So I think what it did then is auto adjusted to his Gmail and then took us out of the Zoom Pro. Anyways, you don't need to know the details. Where were we? Uninterrupted. Yeah, let's get back to judging. So go ahead, Lance.
Yes. So what do you believe is the biggest mistake an amateur can make on stage today?
Like a first timer?
Yeah. Just in general, anything I would say before pro level?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple things. I think for one thing, some people compete too often, don't give themselves enough time to, progress and put on the size that they need. I think some people too, not that they're resistant to to feedback or criticism, but they, like if a judge is telling you like you got to bring your back up, like you're not going to go pro with a back that's that far behind the rest of your physique, and you're still not prioritizing your training that way, I just think sometimes the feedback isn't taken serious enough for someone to make the progress that they need. I've seen that more times than not, like where someone's told several times, like, you got to bring your back up, you got to bring your waist down, you got to bring your legs up, whatever the case may be. And then you see like their videos in that, and you see there's no prioritizing that. It's still just the same old routine with no prioritizing your weak area, and then you just come back with the same physique year after year.
That's something I try to really harp on. Is literally what you just said. Is like the judge's feedback is meant to make you the best athlete possible, and it's kind of sad how often it is because people expect a different result by not changing what they're being told to change. And what is that? That's a definition of insanity.
Yeah. You're not taking that. You're asking for the feedback, but you're not putting it to use. You're still just doing the same routine. Like I don't want to mention anybody's names, but there's a couple of people in my head who I know.
I can mention some names.
But like speaking of the amateur level, at least I'm thinking of in my head. There's a couple of young amateurs that I know in Canada that have great physiques, but they're missing it every year by for some reason they're not getting their pro cards. And I've told these guys, and it's not just me. Like a couple other head judges have also told them the same. Like this is what you need to do, and they come back every year with the same look still. And I follow everybody pretty much. I stay pretty active on social media, watching everyone's videos. I like to see people's progression, and I don't see the priority, being matching what your feedback was given to you about your physique, with the people that I have in my head, at least that I'm thinking of.
I can agree with that. Or even people saying like they'll get feedback from a judge, like you got to come in tighter, you guys got to figure out your conditioning, how you're approaching your peak, and I'm just aware of people that I competed with last year at Junior Nats and Universe that are still taking their shots at pro cards even to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like people are now like people that have been in prep ever since last year still because they keep going to each national show. They're not giving their body a break. They're not giving that time to rest it, and they keep getting worse placings. You know? And it's more. Sometimes it's more than just taking a year off between shows too. And people don't, because people just want that instant. I want the pro card. I want the pro card. But they don't realize that they're pissing their career away by not giving their body the time to do what it wants to do.
Right. It takes time. Not all of us are Samson.
Exactly, dude. 100%.
The guy puts on muscle while he's dieting all year round. I don't get it. But not everyone's blessed like that. So you got to give your time. Like what you're doing, Nick. Like you give your body a chance and look at the response you're getting.
Right.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the next question that we got in here. This is a controversial one that we really wanted to dive into with you because I had actually messaged you about this one about a month back. So how do you view tattoos in bodybuilding, and what can there be an effect with that be?
All right. Great question. I love this one.
Let's go. Please don't hold back.
I won't. I think I'm an old school guy. I'm from the era where tattoos were a lot more rare than they are today. Not as common. With that being said, I think they're cool, like everybody else, But in bodybuilding, all I'm going to say is, all we can judge is what's in front of us, what we can see. If your back is completely inked up with color, especially when the tattoos are filled in and colored, the large back tattoos, you can't see any detail. So you're at a disadvantage now, no matter what, no matter how great your back is. If we can't see it, we can't judge it. It's the same thing with leg tattoos. Sometimes you're seeing, it's becoming a little bit more common, like full leg tattoos, like full thighs being done in that. If it hides your detail, it is what it is. If I can't see detail, then I can't judge it for you. Then you're lacking detail. It's just like anything. If it hinders your physique, if it hinders your look, if it hinders your lines and your detail, whether it's ink or not, it's still a hindrance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I completely changed. My right side is my stronger side, but because before I got into bodybuilding, I was dumb. And in the military, I was like, I want a sleeve. And now I'm like, my right side was my strong side, but I had to shift all my posing to my left so that I never show my tattoo side.
Okay, but at least arm, arms were not, yes, detail's important in arms, definitely.
Right.
But, it's a little bit less important than, let's say, like the detail of your quads or the detail of your back.
Right.
Yeah. And if one arm is detailed still, the other one's covered in ink, I don't see that being as much of a hindrance as I do a big, huge back tattoo, that's filled in. I can't see it.
I'm just saying I even feel rough just having the shoulder and arm covered. I couldn't imagine if my whole back and chest were like completely covered.
Yeah.
It
I
gives me
remember
anxiety.
back at Devo's national show, there was a guy that was competing in men's physique. And me and Devo, we were posing in the bathroom, and this guy's entire right side, right arm, right shoulder into his pack was just blacked out. And didn't do well at the show, obviously, and to this day, he's still trying to take a crack at his national shows. Every year he's competed since then.
I see some of these tattoo cover-ups. They've gotten a bit better. And I've seen a couple shows. I judged a show last year in Vancouver. A competitor here, Morgan, a really good heavyweight competitor, should be a pro pretty soon. Morgan has that issue where he's got a big leg tattoo and his back somewhat too. And Bombshell did the tanning at that show, and they tried to really cover it up with this with some cover up and then tan over top of it, and it actually looked pretty good there. But the problem is, it's right now, at least where things are at with the technology, whatever you want to, when it comes to tattoo cover up, it's not perfected yet. Because then the next show, Morgan showed up with the same tanning, same products, same tanner, same everything, and it wasn't as covered up as well, because the discrepancy between the color of the covered up area compared to the rest of his body was a little bit more drastic, and it threw off his look a little bit.
Gotcha.
So I haven't seen it being consistent yet, but I think if someone could figure that out, a good way to cover it up and still blend in with the tan, and not lose as much detail, then it'd be great. But so far, I haven't seen a great consistent job with the tattoo cover-ups yet.
Paul,
Probably
where's if people do are set on getting tattoos, where are the safe spots to get them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Man.
Forearms, probably.
I would I don't know, if there's a safe spot, I would just avoid covering an area, any area where it's going to be covered in with full colored in tattoo. You know what I mean? Like scriptures, stuff like that doesn't hide as much. But when it's a picture or something and it's filled in, colored in, you're not seeing anything underneath that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Would you recommend simple tattoos, not anything detailed, color?
Yeah,
things like that?
or at least anything that's not going to be super, super dark and it's going to shade in a large area.
Yeah,
Because I have a forearm tattoo, so
that's fine. Nobody's looking for detail in forearms.
I was gonna say, you're fine, dude. That's your forearm.
Okay.
Sebum's got a forearm tattoo,
right,
dude.
that's right,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that ain't fucking hurting him.
Zach's over here shitting himself. He's like,
I'm never gonna go pro.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hang it up. This forearm fucked my future.
It's like, this guy's got a great physique, conditioning's great, but his forearms are soft.
He'll never make it.
Yeah, Paul looks down at his judging card got a chance.
no forearm.
Forearms trash.
Mom, I'm giving it up.
Drier in the forearms.
Yeah.
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go into the next one, and that's gonna be, what is the favorite show you've ever judged, and then after that, what is the wildest physique that you've seen judging?
Okay, those two great questions. My favorite show I ever judged, because it was an honor for me, was last year's UK Arnold.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
There we go.
That was to be asked to judge that show by Tyler was an honor to me, and I was that was a huge moment for me as a judge and as a person. I don't know, it felt really cool to be amongst that upper echelon of judges now.
Because you are cool, Paul. That's why.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank
Well
you.
deserved.
But it was awesome, man. I can't compare anything else to that experience so far.
Yeah.
Other than that, I love judging I'm judging the Arnold Amateur this weekend. I'm not judging
Fuck
the pro
yeah.
show, unfortunately.
Yep.
That's a dream of mine to be on the Columbus panel one day too, for the pro show. But judging the amateurs, I've judged it the last 3 or 4 years now, and it's an honor judging that show. It's a great experience. Any of Gary Udit shows, they treat you very well.
Oh, yeah.
You're treated very well as a judge and very well taken care of. And those shows are a great experience too. But yeah, I love judging shows in BC. They got some great promoters out there. I love judging shows in Alberta. Yeah, all over the place. But that Arnold UK really stands out to me.
Congratulations for that, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Thank you very much. The craziest physique I ever saw in person, though,
Or that you got to judge.
Yeah.
That you got to judge.
but I got to judge Samson and Hottie.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Oh
yep.
my
yep.
God,
Best in the
that's
world, yeah.
right.
Your answer is stacked
Yeah.
up. That's perfect.
How'd
Yeah,
you
it doesn't
even-
get much better than that.
How'd you even look at anybody else on stage? I would have been just staring.
Yeah.
Man, well, like at that level, like, I do find it though sometimes, like judging a show at that level, I kind of put the guys into groups where I have them, like my top 2, 3, my next, 2, 3, and my next 2, 3, because I feel like they kind of, sort of, as the show progresses, it starts to kind of go that way. But when you're judging like Samson and Hottie and physiques like at that level, like you're looking for, I have to go pose for pose,
Yep.
because like it's that close. Like one of them's not overpowering the other, no way, like in anything. So I have to go pose for pose with those guys, and so it makes it, a lot more, I guess, kind of like critical for me because like I'm really, really focusing on everything in each pose. So like that's how I break it down when it gets to that level. How the guys are that good and they don't have flaws.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. So when we're going for pose like that, something that really like people don't really understand is one, what you're able to see when you're there in person. Okay. Like when you judged Samson and Hottie together. Okay. It's much different than any screen, any TV, whatever you're seeing it on. And when you're being so attentive to what's going on in front of you, and it's kind of it's such a different level than even somebody judging at a national level show, because it's like when I turned pro, when I was in center, Tyler and Attila were looking at me for the first 3 rounds, and then their eyes went outside of me, and then as a competitor, that's like, okay, yo, I've probably secured this spot. I'm hoping
Right.
so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because the 2 center judges, the head judge, but at the level of like the Arnold UK, how you have your entire panel of judges. When it gets down to pose by pose, how do you guys communicate with, okay, I'm going to look at this person now. Do you guys not communicate? Because you're all obviously looking so intently at each individual.
Right. We're all locked in.
Yeah. How do you guys like judge equally when it's so close like that? Not equally, because everybody's got I don't want to say that word. How do you make sure everybody's getting a adequate look by all the judges when it's such you got to be so detail oriented with that judging?
I think that's where a good head judge really is so important. And at that level, it's Tyler or Steve. So,
Got it.
Or if it's a females, it's Sandy. And so you need a great leader like that on the panel, because there's open communication amongst the panel, but it's nobody trying to sway anybody. It's
Right.
just speaking out loud of what your thoughts are. And we're just sharing those thoughts together. So if I'm looking at, let's say, for example, it's Samson and Hottie on stage, maybe James is in that call out as well. And let's say maybe Akeem's in that call out. Like we're talking out loud, like, wow, like look at, Samson's so complete. Like you're just speaking your thoughts out loud, and we're kind of sharing those thoughts, and you're not trying to influence each other. You're just telling each other what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And I think with that comes the best decisions, because maybe I didn't see something on, Akeem, for example, that another judge is speaking out loud, is like, look at the conditioning on Akeem from the front, like how, his proportions from the front, his conditioning, whatever. And maybe I'm just not focusing on Akeem at that moment. I'm focusing on these 2 over here. So it helps me to see the whole panel. And I think a strong head judge will help lead that conversation amongst the
That's
other
really
judges.
cool. I had no idea about that. That's so cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, and again, nobody's trying to sway each other, because
No.
everyone's going to make their decision. Everyone's going to write it down, and even not necessarily anyone's going to say like, "Well, I'm putting Samson first, I'm putting Hottie second," whatever the case may be.
It may help the judge decisions, because if you hear the head judge, whoever it be, let's say it's Tyler for this instance, he says something like, "Wow, Akeem is fucking sharp." You're going to make, even if you don't even like acknowledge what Tyler said, you're so focused on detail that you're going to make a mental note and be like, okay, I got to focus on Akeem's sharpness right now and his condition. So it like you said that the leadership of the head judge helps everybody see something that they may not have noticed right off the bat.
Right, and they're directing it.
Nice.
So like let's say one of those 4 are starting to fade a little bit. They're starting to, you can see they're starting to get winded. They're not hitting the poses as well now. They're starting to flatten out even on stage. someone might head judge might say like, "Hey, I'm going to work these guys because I can see right now so and so starting to flatten out."
Oh, really?
And Hottie, for example, is getting sharper.
Yep.
So let's do another round. Let's see who's going to hold up. Let's see who's in shape for this.
Oh,
Dude,
wow.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Things will progress like that, and it gets very interesting, those conversations, and very they're intense, but not intense at a tense level. More intense, like everyone's locked in and focused. And
I've had that as like at nationals before. It happened in December where it's more intense for like if you're right behind the judges and you're a coach and your athletes up there, like it's like, oh, we're gonna, that they're trying to make somebody break. You know what I'm saying? And if they would have gone one more round, the guy that was in second place, my guy probably would have taken second. He was starting to fade really bad, and my guy was getting harder. I'm like, come on, one more round, you're gonna move him to fucking second, and they did do another round, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wanted one more round. I wanted you guys to push him harder, so my guy could have stayed harder and gotten to second place for a pro card,
and that makes it exciting.
Yes,
that makes the
exactly.
show exciting, and the crowd sees that and gets into it, and everyone gets into it, and the competitors get into it.
Bro,
they're
there's
fighting for it.
anxiety.
It's cool, man. It's fucking awesome. But as a judge, like we get excited, super excited.
Yes.
Like you feed off that electricity, and like those are the best moments as a judge. When it gets like that.
I have a question. So that takes so much mental energy and like hype up, and you have to be locked in for so long. What was like your morning before the UK, Arnold? Like, what'd you do to get your brain ready? Coffee? What'd you do?
I got a routine. No, I got a routine for every show.
Do you mind sharing it?
Yeah, like I'm very strict about what I eat that morning. I try to make sure that I'm not too hydrated because otherwise I'm gonna have to use a bathroom every freaking, that's a pain. Like I hate when I gotta piss really bad during a show because I don't want to miss anything. The show's not stopping for you. Unless I'm the head judge of the show and it's a regional show, I can pause it for a few minutes, no big deal. But a pro show, no one's waiting for you. So you got to be careful. So I can't drink too much water, but I want to get some food in me so that I'm not gonna be starving at the table either. So I always my go-to is always eggs. I always have hard-boiled eggs, but I try to have minimal water that morning, and I try to have some caffeine, but minimal amounts of fluid. So I might have like espresso instead of coffee if I can, or something like that. But I try to be as sharp as I can for as long as I can. I don't want to get any dips in energy, so I try not to have any carbs before I judge.
Nice.
Sure. Have you ever thought about taking any of like some people take like the Alpha Brain or like
nootropics?
I take modafinil.
Okay.
For a big show.
Nice.
Yeah, for a big show, and if I'm head judging, I take modafinil.
This kind of leads into one of my questions. Do you like smoke before you judge?
Never before judging.
No?
Never before judging.
Okay,
No.
never mind.
I have a bit of. I don't like public speaking. I get anxiety.
Yeah.
I get anxiety bad. I'm working on it. So if I smoke before public speaking or anything like that, no, I can't.
It's
Man.
rough. Okay.
So I actually want to talk about that real quick too, because I actually, the way you get through it, Paul, is you just do it. So we actually we held a posing seminar. We had
listen to this.
30. We had like 30 kids show up, and I had a whole itinerary made like today's. And we got so fucking high out back, and we walked in, and 30 kids are standing there. And I went and leaned against the garage door. I was like, "Fuck, I can't do this." I was like, "Send them home." And then I was like, "No, you can fucking do this." And I turned around, and you just go into character. Just find a character.
And that's probably great for fighting anxiety. I love Joe Rogan. You guys probably do too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard him talk. I think it was one of his stand-ups. He talked about what he likes to do for an airplane for long flights. He takes like 200 milligrams edibles before the flight, whenever he's going on a 4 or 5 hour flight, because he knows they're going to kick in right mid-flight and he can't go anywhere. So he wants to induce that anxiety, and he wants to deal with it. So it's like exposure therapy, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Like I would love, I could do that in a different setting, but not as a judge.
No, I get that too.
Yeah.
I guess the reason for that question too is because of Joe Rogan. He said before every UFC fight night, he takes like a gram of shrooms and rips a joint.
Really?
It like locks him in, but like the shrooms energize him. So
Okay. So like for podcasts, like we just did, like I always smoke before a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I'm just putting on my computer and talking to you guys, or I'm talking to Fuad and Ian and Mike. So there's no pressure. There's nobody looking at me,
Right.
So I get very comfortable with that. So I can be myself. But when it's a live setting with people around, I fucking, oh man, I lose it. I can't.
Paul, oh my God. When we had the posing seminar, and like Devo is really good at public speaking. Devo is fantastic at public speaking. We're all doing our intros to all these people, okay? And everybody's talking, giving their intros comes to me, and I had just started NPP like the week prior. Okay, so I'm still just on 150 mgs, and on top of that, smoking, and on top of that, all these people, and I got to pose in front of everybody. And mind you, I knew I had to fucking train legs after the seminar with Devo, so I'm like 2 meals in. Okay, and it's right away in the morning. So they come to me and I'm introducing myself. I got so anxiety ridden from how high I was, how much food I had in me because I had to pose now after in front of these people. And I had to give an intro. And I was like, for me to flaunt the IFBB Pro card, like for me to actually put that title in an intro, I fucked up. I said, yeah, I'm Nick. Everybody knows me here. And then everybody was like looking for an intro of like, and I'm a pro. And I just let everybody down.
It was his first time public speaking as an IFBB pro, so we all thought he was going to be like, IFBB pro.
Shit the bed, Nick.
Bro, I called myself. I was like, "Yep, I'm just a coach and your average regional competitor."
My name's Nick. I'm from Wisconsin.
Why are you being so weird over there?
Our fucking show pony didn't want to show.
You guys like roll out your big star.
I was just like, this is all we have.
I let everybody down. We depended on you, Nick.
Anyways,
Nick, you want to roll into your questions?
yeah.
How'd you meet? Well, we already went over that about what I was just gonna ask. But I want to hear what is your funniest behind the scenes moment of Bro Chat?
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Without canceling anybody.
There was one time. This is a pretty funny one. This is early on. This is about 2 or 3 years ago. I think in the video you can see the blood trickling down my head as the episode wore on. Like I said, I always get high before a podcast. And I think I ate some shrooms that night too. As a matter of fact, one of my buddies made these squares. Like, you guys ever have those pop bottle candies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He made that candy with mushrooms in it into a bar. And like, he had no idea how much shrooms were in it. It was just like, eat at your own risk. So I just tear off a square here and there and eat one. So I tore off a square that night, ate one, and then I smoked a joint. And I remember, like, I think I wasn't a regular yet, so I think Fouad had messaged me like halfway through the podcast or a little bit into it and was like, "Hey, you want to jump on?" I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." I hadn't really felt the shrooms kick in yet or nothing, I thought we were going to talk for probably half hour. It'd be cool. So I was helping one of my daughters on the couch get something ready. I think she was doing some schoolwork and I was helping her with it or something. So my wife had hung these shelves above the couch, which wasn't a good idea, I told her, because like they're right above the couch. But anyway, so I helped my daughter with something that I went to get up and I smashed my head off this shelf. And I didn't realize how bad I had hit it. So I ran downstairs to start this podcast. And then as it's going on, Fouad's like, "Is your head bleeding?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay." He's like, no, look, your head's bleeding. And I put it down and I could see like the blood trickling down. And by this point, the shrooms had kicked in too. So I started panicking a bit.
Holy
That's
shit.
when the shroom heart clench. It feels like a hand gripping your heart.
Well, when you guys take shrooms, do you get that moment where they're kicking in where you can't help but yawn nonstop for like 30 minutes?
I've had it before, yeah.
I had that one time.
Not every time, though.
Really? Happens to me every time, it seems like. It's almost like when the visual stuff starts kicking in, when you're seeing the lights a little bit more, all of a sudden, like, it's like I got to yawn nonstop for like a half an hour straight. I'll just yawn my head off.
What the hell?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why I get that.
Your brain trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
It's just going into overdrive.
Last time that happened to me when I was freaking rolling off some codeine, I was like, wow, this is what resisting sleep feels like.
Oh my God.
I was like, whoa.
Jesus Christ.
That was college days, baby.
Yeah, when I do shrooms, I always say it's like the hand of the shroom. It always feels like a hand like comes down your skull.
Bro.
And you're like, oh, here we go.
Come from the back of your head?
Yeah.
It comes from the back of your head.
It comes from the back of the head, and you feel it then start to hit your eyes, and you're like,
yes.
Fuck, here we go.
Why does everybody get that, dude?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I told them I took 2 grams of shrooms, and I was going to the grocery store, and I was like, they should hit by the time I'm home, because it's only like a 10-minute round trip. And there was tons of traffic. I didn't realize it was 5 p.m. And so everybody's getting off work, and there's tons of traffic. I get into the grocery store, and I remember I'm walking with my cart, and I felt the hand come over. I was like, no, it can't be now. I was like, no, God, please, God, not now. I did like 17 laps because I couldn't find what I was looking for, and one of the ladies like made eye contact with me probably 2-3 too many times during my laps, and she finally gave me kind of a disgusted look, like this guy has walked by me 11 times,
and she doesn't know you're just rolling.
And I was just like, "Fuck, they're starting to notice." I gotta get out of here.
Trying to get away from the hand.
It was
The
terrible.
last time I did them this past summer a lot. My brother-in-law. My brother-in-law, my wife's family had this like barbecue thing going on at their house. They live kind of like out in the country out here.
Yeah.
So I don't, I know a lot of people there, but not everyone. I just know like my wife's immediate family. So we get there. My brother-in-law's like, "Hey, you want to take some shrooms?" I was like, "Sure." So he gives me like, I don't know how much he gave me. It must have been like 3.5 grams or so. So all of a sudden, like I'm sitting in the chair and I felt like you're talking about. I felt them come on. And these were strong, man. Like I didn't even know what I was doing anymore. Wow. So I got really panicky. So all I did was I grabbed a lawn chair, I put it like in the middle where the barbecue was taking place, and I was like, okay, I got to ride this out for the next 4 hours. So I just sat. I was like, just sit here, don't move. And that's literally what I did. I sat there like this with my hands on the arms, and I didn't move. I put sunglasses on. I didn't move for 4 hours. Whole party going on around me, and my wife would check on me once in a while. She's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, I just got to ride this out. I would just sat there.
Just fucking panicking.
I had to piss my pants, but I wouldn't move. 'Cause I was not in control of what I was doing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we call that pulling the ripcord.
That's such a fucking overwhelming feeling
Yeah.
when
It
you're
really
like,
is.
because it's like I've been so high to the point where like I feel like every time I get too high, I just crash out.
Yeah.
Whereas like with mushrooms, when you're too high, I feel like it gives you such that like alert, focused feeling. So
Yeah.
you're like, there's
notice
no
everything.
like with at least weed, you can lay down in bed and be like, fuck, I can just shut this off.
Yeah, right,
With
exactly.
mushrooms, you're like, dude, I
You're
just
up.
like you said,
Yeah.
I just gotta
You close
ride.
your eyes and you can see things moving still, and it's just like I can't go. to sleep.
Mushrooms is almost like it's an out of body experience sometimes
Yeah.
too. Like you're not like, your brain isn't connecting with what your body's doing at some point.
Have,
You know?
have you guys dropped acid?
No.
Oh yeah, when I was a kid,
Kid.
Paul, you and me both, baby. Paul,
Paul, how old were you?
Well, I was in my 20s. I wasn't a kid.
Okay.
But it's been a long time though.
I was like stuck inside a painting one time when I was tripping off acid. It was the scariest moment in my life, dude.
painting?
I was staring at a painting and I was inside of it, like in a world. It was so
sick.
fucking scary.
Is it like blotter acid, like paint, like on a little sheet of like a little microdot, or what was it?
Oh yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
it
who knows
was,
what the fuck's in that too? Eh?
and that was the last time I ever did, because like one, I don't know, this is my second experience. It was much different than my first. So it's definitely that synthetic. You don't know how much is in it.
And
You
how
know,
long
so-
this is gonna last
Exactly.
or anything?
It-
Yeah.
oh my! It felt like a day. It was terrible. It was,
See, I
was
could
terrible.
not do
I
it for
couldn't
that
handle
long,
that.
dude.
I used to
anxiety
know a
would
guy.
kill me.
I used to know a guy. He was prepping for the same show as me. He would take acid every day before he trained, and he'd do his cardio and training in one session, and he'd stay at the gym for like 6 hours.
no
this
way.
guy.
No
He
way.
would drop acid every day before he did it.
You've done shrooms with Fuad, yeah, a bunch of
Oh,
times.
yeah, many times. I love shrooms. Yeah.
Last year at the Arnold dinner, I was rolling off shrooms bad.
Oh, those are those bars. No,
Yes, exactly. They're the bars, dude. It was so bad because we were all drinking heavy as fuck, and then we went outside to smoke, and then I was just the curb the entire night, seeing Fuad out there. It was so bad.
yeah, we did. We went away to a cottage a couple years ago too. We brought a bunch of shrooms with us, and in fact, those are some pretty. Actually, one night, me and Fuad got all of us got really high on it, but I just could not stop laughing. You know, one of those shroom highs where you can't stop laughing.
The best.
Those
The best.
Yeah.
The best, but your stomach hurts because you're laughing so hard.
jaws cramping.
We had those.
Yeah.
Story of our life, dude. That's our friend group. They're laughing while we're so high and our stomachs are cramping. Oh my
Storytelling, yeah.
God. Yeah.
The best.
Do you want
But,
to ask another one on that list?
Yeah. So that was like one of the behind the scenes moments of Bro Chat. We're just speaking of Bro Chat and all the funny shit that has happened on Bro Chat. Do you recall a favorite episode you've been on? If it was a certain guest on the episode, or it was just something that you guys discussed that was like, wow, it was enjoyable but also very meaningful.
One of the first. Well, we did one with Jay once, and that was it's Jay. You know, so
Yeah.
it's just an honor to do a podcast with Jay.
That's crazy.
Fuck yeah.
There's been a couple cool ones, like the first one Fuad and I did with Sam, getting to know Sam when we first met him. Went out to Ohio to meet him. We did a podcast that night, and it was interesting getting to know Sam and find out some stuff about him. There's been a couple too where like there was one not too long ago where it was just me and Ian and Fuad and Seth, I think, and I think Mike had come on just for a bit that night. I don't know, just the conversation was just really nice conversation, like we laughed a lot, but we also hit on some things that were, like interesting and I don't know, like that. There's just once in a while, like there's some though where we'll do it, and afterwards I won't feel good about it for whatever reason. I just
bro, that was our podcast
Same,
last week, dude.
Same.
Oh
All the
my
time.
god,
do you guys do this? So when I do something like that, like I don't know, for some reason I get in my head a lot sometimes, and I'll think like, man, I said some stupid stuff
all the time,
and I won't even look at the comments or the views, nothing on that one. I'll refuse to look at it, and I'll just put it out of my head.
Most of the times, those episodes where I have those thoughts of like, man, should I have shared that story? Should I have said this a different way? So most of the time, those are the episodes where we get really good feedback. Somebody's like, yeah, dude, that episode was so funny. It had me rolling. And I'm like, okay, at least people are actually still enjoying it. And I'm not just sounding like an asshole,
And you guys are all like, you guys all read the comments. You guys are very aware of like.
I tried not to sometimes, but then it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it can get in my head.
Yeah.
Sure. And so, yeah, I don't typically read the comments very much.
Well, especially for you though, like there's so many more comments, but also there's so many opinions in the comment section of anything Fouad Abiad related. You know what I'm saying? And
remember there was like that drama recently, like with the stuff that Mike was going through, and then the stuff Fouad was going through. Like like I'm not like these guys, right? Like these guys are all been well-known people their whole lives. Like I'm not. So this is all very, and I'm not. I don't even have a third of their popularity, but it's different. It's been a learning experience for me and a change. So like, I'm not used to getting 100 messages a day, and from people. And all of a sudden, like, especially after those two instances back to back, I was getting literally like 100 or 200 messages a day. And
that's crazy.
It just got overwhelming. I had to like get off. I had to just not even look at anything for a couple of weeks. It was just overwhelming me a little bit. I don't know. I get like that still a little bit.
That's crazy though, because like I feel like a lot of people don't actually like think about scenarios like that, because it's just, you know what I mean. You guys are in the limelight, like we talk about it. You guys have the most popular podcast in all of bodybuilding, and it's such a joy to watch. But I mean, the pace in which it's grown. I mean, like it's cool to see you guys all interact like that. But I feel like people don't really understand sometimes how much that probably weighs on people when you just get, I mean, like you said, 200 messages a day?
Yeah, for a little while. Like, and the things that you talk about, like you said, like, it's an honor to be a part of that podcast, like for those guys to look at me as someone who I could, worthy as being on the same, platform as them means a lot to me, to be accepted by that group. But like the first time I went out in public to like an expo or something, when I started getting a little bit more followers from the podcast, it was really cool, like for people to want to take pictures with me and stuff like that. And it feels really cool. So I don't want to be ungrateful, like I don't want to like, but there are times though, like even now where like the messages pile up and I'm just like, I can't keep up with this, or it's just too much, and I don't want to look at it for a little while, and I kind of hide away from it. But
because real life is what's going on around you, and not Instagram, and people sometimes don't have that realization. Like they become so sucked in with the social media side of things, that they live in that anxiety state of always having to reply to messages and to post, and they don't even realize that it's like that could be like that. Like they don't realize that that's not the shit that matters the most. Like you're an individual, or you're aware of your value is outside the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like real life, and that's why you feel like that. I'm sure.
Fuck
it's like
Paul.
Fuck them, dude. Fuck those 200 messages.
And it's nothing. Anyone doesn't mean anything bad by it. I know. Like I'm not trying to like say like it's anything like with bad intention, nothing like that. It's cool to have like people message me, but it's just that it's just me. I gotta find a way to manage it better in my head, because there's some times where I just gets overwhelming for me.
I will say your fan base though, Paul, is loyal as shit.
Yeah, I feel like they're the most wholesome fans you have.
I was most excited to talk with you at the Arnold last year, dude. When we smoked, I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to see how big Mike was in person.
Mike's a big dude. Mike's scary.
Yeah, I was like, I want to see the fucking size comparison.
Are you guys all going to be there again this year?
I'll be at the Arnold. Just me.
You guys aren't going?
Not this year.
Too bad, man.
I'm getting married this year, so all money's going. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All the money's going to that this year. We said no trips till after the wedding.
I understand. They're not cheap.
Paul, I want to dive in a little bit to the marijuana conversation.
Yes.
We know you partake.
Yes.
So I feel like we all use marijuana differently in bodybuilding specifically. Like for myself, I am not an eater, so it helps me kind of work up an appetite a little bit. Like I'll maybe take like a hit or two before a meal. So that's like one of the reasons why I use it. What is one way you use it for your bodybuilding specifically?
Okay. I was just having this conversation with Fuad yesterday because I'm actually trying to curtail my usage.
Trying to hang up the jersey?
No. I just
God, don't say those words.
no. I just want to. There's times where I can, maybe smoke too much. Yeah.
We've been there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys can relate because I like it. So
You feel
so
good
when
on it.
I feel great on it and I'm much happier on it.
Yeah, same.
But I'm also a high anxiety kind of person.
Yeah.
And I also don't deal with stuff. I just kind of like put it aside and don't deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I think I'm blunting myself a little bit too much during the day.
Yeah.
Like I'm just blunting my emotions, blunting my response to things with
Making it a little numb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's definitely. So I want to get back to a place where I just use it to feel like because in that moment I just want to, feel good for, I want to forget about the day.
Sure.
I just want to chill. I want to use it more like that rather than something that I'm using to, I don't want it to be like the go-to for everything for me.
Right.
I want it to just,
No more wake and bakes?
I'm trying not to do that anymore. Today, obviously, was a slip up, with you guys.
There's exceptions.
Every
There's
Sunday.
exceptions.
So every
Sundays
Sunday. Just
are
one-
allowed.
yeah.
I've been working hard lately. I've been working my ass off at work lately. I've been putting in a lot of work lately. And all the Trump stuff
Treat
make us
yourself.
work way harder right now. So,
You gotta love it though.
Treat yourself.
I do love it. I'm
You know
all
what,
for it.
Paul? We actually at the beginning of this year we were all like we kind of need to get a grasp on it too. So Lance and I we were like we're gonna smoke on Thursdays because it's the off lifting day. You work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so you can smoke Thursday. Friday's obviously a reward for the end of the week. You work really hard.
Yep.
For the weekend.
Yeah, and then Saturday, Sunday are
Freebie.
off limits.
So you're taking 2 days off a week.
Three.
Okay, 3. Okay.
If
not that bad.
if you can get it back and you don't do any day smoking on the days you're allowed to smoke, then it's a reward at the evening. Every
Okay.
time. So
Maybe that's a strategy I should use instead
Paul,
of this.
try it out. It's working great.
Is it? How long has it been?
It is not working great. Dude. Paul, we started this and we originally had this. I struggled with it. I'm the reason it got worse.
I'm following it.
Because we originally said Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Thursday was the off day. And I would text him right out of work, and I'd be like, why don't we have a meeting of the minds one time? And he's like, what's that? And I was like, we could just like pre-plan for the podcast every single Thursday night and smoke or whatever. And that night one turned into just shooting the shit and smoking for like 4 hours and not getting anything done.
I love it.
So we're doing 3 days, but it's better than every single day.
Right. Yeah.
I'm telling you though, just even taking those 3 days off,
It's
by
huge.
Thursday, your
It's huge.
tolerance, you like a 1 or 2 joints will get you.
It's a reset.
rocked again.
I will say like that. It definitely you enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I
For sure.
I smoke every day, but it's to the point where the amount I smoke now is drastically like 1,000 times less than how much I used to smoke in college and how frequent it was. Yeah. So like I just smoke if I'm not smoking before the gym with anybody here, then I'll just smoke before bed,
Okay.
Or I'll
See that,
or I'll smoke like a little bit of a joint before I do my last check-ins for the night or something, and then I just go chill, watch a movie with my girlfriend.
Yeah,
But,
that's
dude,
cool. See, that's what I want to get back to. That's what
Right.
it used to be like for me.
But
That's
for
what I want
me,
to get back
in
to.
college, like back when you guys first signed me, it was probably this was my frequency of smoking. Me and Addie, this is what we would do. We'd like wake up. We had a house in college. We'd wake up, smoke, go to class. Okay, like obviously eating beforehand and stuff.
Right.
Get back after class, come back, smoke. All right, whatever classes have after that, whatever. Go to the gym, smoke right outside the gym. Go into the gym, train, come back out. Dude, there was times we would smoke mid-training sessions.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. And then we'd come home, and then we'd sit on our front lawn, Main Street in our college town with the bong. Cops are rolling by. We just didn't give a fuck.
Really?
And like that's when you realize like you're not really enjoying the high for the high.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
just doing
You're
it
living
just
on
to
it.
waste time.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And you feel cool at the same time, but then you get to a point when you grow up, and you're like, bro, I could have got so much shit done for the amount of time that I was smoking.
fuck,
You know
I'm
what I'm saying?
52. You guys are in your 20s. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying though, man. Like, yeah, because obviously I work a full-time job. I work a 10 or 12-hour shift. I don't smoke before I go to that job
Yeah.
either. So so the days that I work, it's not, it's not a problem. It's my days off.
Yeah.
If and I work a compressed work week, so sometimes I get 4 days off in a row.
Oh.
Well, I should be waking and baking 4 days in a row.
That's 4 weekend days. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Days off.
You worked really hard for 4
Hell
days.
yeah,
So
you
you
earned that.
4 days you can get ripped. What are you
Paul,
talking
what's
about?
what's your favorite way to get stoned though?
Oh,
on
good
those
question.
days?
Yeah.
So we're
I'm old
joint
school,
guys.
man. Yeah,
Old
I'll
school,
joints.
like
I'm
some
old
joints.
school.
Joints.
I love
Fuck
smoking
yeah.
joints.
Fuck
My
yeah.
brother-in-law got me into blunts a few years back, so I really like blunts too, like just rolled in cigar
Do
paper.
you have a favorite like edible? Because for me, I like the Oreo cookies. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, well, see, in Canada it's a bit different, right? Because our dispensaries aren't as good as your guys' dispensaries.
Oh, really?
Oh, you mean because my favorite's Oreo cookies? Is that what you mean?
I'm known as the fat ass on this.
Are you?
Podcast,
Yeah.
So yeah. Anytime
I got
can
into the
food
Oreos
up.
last night, as a matter of fact.
What flavor? Just traditional. Just
I
traditional.
love the golden ones.
Oh yeah.
Really?
A
Yeah,
man
you
of culture. Oh yeah.
Yes, I have. Yes, I'm also a big fan of vanilla.
A man of culture. White Oreos.
Not just white. They're called the golden.
Golden Oreos.
Yeah.
I knew it. My wife and daughter went shopping yesterday from the grocery store, and they came home with a box. I was like, "Why? Why'd you guys do this?
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen tonight."
How many sleeves did you go through?
Last night I just had one row.
Bro, one
All right,
row?
all right, that's
Yeah,
fine, that's
so
fine.
like there's 3 rows. I ate 1 row. So I didn't want my
If I have
daughters.
Oreos, I'm gonna have like 2 Oreos. Then I'm done.
Oh, really?
Entire row, bro.
No, I can't with these, Nick. I can't.
Holy shit.
Do you dip them in milk?
No, I don't. I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't drink a lot of milk.
okay.
Ah.
You just
gotcha.
stand in
Yeah,
the
Fuad says I'm not.
What about
Fuad
almond
says
milk?
I just because I binge eat ice cream and I shit myself. Lactose intolerance, but I've actually been diagnosed with it.
Be it. You know? Might just be it.
Dude, I'm lactose too, and after Universe, the next morning, part of my breakfast, like my post-show meal, was this huge, like 2,500 calorie shake, like ice cream shake. And I'm lactose intolerant, dude. Paul, I fucked up my digestion for like 3-4 weeks just by the day after my show.
Really? It stayed with you that long?
Not because I ate so much food and so much shit food. It was just the dairy, because I hadn't had dairy in like 2 years,
That's crazy.
like large amounts.
So you're just farting your ass off for like 2
Oh my
weeks.
god, bro! I was on my flight back from New Jersey to Milwaukee. It was the worst thing ever. I felt so uncomfortable. I had to go to the bathroom like 3 different times. My big ass in that fucking small thing.
Oh, you can't fart on the plane.
No,
you can't.
dude, it was so
Everyone
bad.
knows
It was-
it's you. You're the big guy.
Lactose intolerant. Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, let's just look around,
Yeah.
bro. They're gonna rule me out before they rule the fat people out.
They're gonna be like,
They're
it's
gonna be
all
like,
those
this
protein
fucker farts more than the fat people.
It's the big dude sweating there in the chair.
100%. I would be the guilt. Look so guilty.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
Paul, do you have a crazy weed story at the gym? Like, did you ever get super faded before going to the gym and just see or experience anything kind of outlandish?
After smoking before I go to the gym?
Yeah, like your pre-smoke.
Well, the last few years Fuad's had this private gym, so I haven't had to go to a public gym.
That's
nice.
probably really nice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. At first it was like, sometimes you're like, if I had to train by myself on the odd day, I'd be there and I'd be like, oh man, it's hard to get into this by myself. You're in it's a good sized gym and you're by yourself and it's in the middle of a factory, so it's kind of like you're just kind of like in this big building by yourself. And it's I found it a little hard to get motivated at times at first, but now I don't think I could go back to a
How do you get yourself motivated?
Wait, just rattling questions.
I want to know. Talking to Paul.
I don't know. Like I'll just if I'm by myself, like it's not hard to get motivated when I'm with Fuad. He leads the way.
That's why I'm curious to know like how you can lock yourself in.
When I'm by myself,
Yeah.
I'll smoke a joint out
Yeah,
in the alley before I start. I'll turn the music on and I just get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I love to do.
warehouse. That's easy because you have the aux, right? So you can blast the music
blast
throughout
your
the whole.
music.
Yeah.
I can put as loud as I want, whatever I want on. I got fucking problems blasted. I'm high out of my mind. I'm fucking getting a great pump going. Like there's nothing better in life, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hostility running through his veins.
That's
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah, we got a table full of all the hostile supplements, so I can
that's
mix and match
sick.
what I want that day.
That's fucking
Ah,
sick. Yeah.
fuck yeah! You make like a little cocktail bar of fucking products. That's
Yeah,
sick.
it's awesome, man. Yeah, I don't need motivation to go there
How the
anymore.
fuck do you go back
How
to
do
a
you-
public gym?
yeah,
I don't think I ever could.
No, fuck that, dude.
We
It's
need
a
to get our own
nightmare.
gym. We need
Do
to
you
open our
guys
own.
A fucking nightmare.
Do you think it's harder? Would it be harder for you to lock in smoking if you're by yourself, if you went to a public gym and you smoked beforehand, or do you think if you went to a public gym and smoked beforehand, would it give you like more anxiety because you're at a public
It
gym?
would give me more anxiety
Way more.
for sure.
Way more.
I can answer this for you. The worst part I used to find about going to a public gym after smoking, you'd see someone you don't want to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this
That's
person
it.
talks to you ruins your buzz for the first 30
Fucking
minutes,
A.
you know? Yeah, so that would be my worst. That was always my worst experience with it.
Gotcha.
I put my head so far down. I don't make eye contact with
His
the
cap
soul
is
when
so
I'm
Paul,
ripped.
down.
if you
I'm
want to
like,
see
do
a
not
mean
fucking speak to
motherfucker,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking at the most fucking upright, mean son of a bitch at the gym. But it's how you get not interrupted all the
Right.
time.
I
implore you
won't
for it.
respond. People ask me questions when I'm stoned, and I just won't respond.
One of the reasons.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
We went to Lance here got me super fucking ripped, and he was like, "Let's just get super high and go to Lifetime." Like, a busy public gym.
Okay.
And so
we did that a lot.
Lot of good ass.
we're like walking, and he's like, Sundays are never that busy. He's like, it's always usually pretty empty. And we go up, like, it's a huge, big staircase because it's one of the fancy gyms.
It's a
Go
club.
up this big staircase around the corner, and the gym's just packed with families. Kids are jumping off boxes. Like, people are lifting everywhere. Bunch of bros, like, in their Gymshark stuff. And I'm like, tweaking, and I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get through this.
Yeah.
Dude, big
I could
tough.
barely focus. I couldn't hit any weights because I just felt like I was just staring
Yeah.
at everybody.
I think one of the main reasons why I wear a hat in the gym is to lower the brim
Yep.
so much,
That's what
and
I
I'll
mean.
just like scowl,
Yep,
you know.
you
And I'm
need-
not trying to be a dick, but it's like I'll just look, and just by my facial expressions of me in my training, the hat emphasizes don't fuck with me right now.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you guys a funny story. One time, this is a long time ago. This is way before weed was legalized in Canada and that. So, this is before, I think it was even before I started training that regularly with Fouad.
Wow.
So I smoked a joint after work, went to the gym, and I see these two girls I work with, and they're squares. And, it's not legal yet, so very on the down low with the stuff.
Yeah.
And I forgot to, do the brush the teeth, put the gum, wash your hands, put some cologne on. I forgot
Put
to
some
do all that.
deodorant on. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to do all that. So I'm just reeking like a fucking, like a hippie right now. And so I'm working out, and these two girls come up to me that I work with, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Good." And they're like, they're talking for a few minutes. All of a sudden, one of them goes, "It smells like weed in here." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, really? I don't really smell anything." And then the other girl goes, "What kind of a loser would smoke a joint and come to the gym?"
No way.
They have no clue it's me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. There's some losers around here. And then they finally just fucked off. And I was like, fuck. Jeez, man. I totally forgot.
I
Damn.
have one similar. So I'm a
funny.
district sales manager for my day job, and we had to go to Nashville for a sales summit thing. And my bosses and my boss's bosses and everybody was there. And I was like, all right, they let us out at 5, and then they all wanted to go to dinner. I was like, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm going to the fucking gym. I'm not going to the dinner with you guys. So I went to the dispensary, got a joint, fucking ripped a joint, got my workout in, and I was walking back in the hotel lobby. And all of a sudden I hear, Zach. And I'm like, oh my God, like worst nightmare. My boss and my boss's boss are like walking towards me, but I had a 3/4 zip on, and no one knows, like, bodybuilders are big people in normal people setting.
Yeah.
So they're like, you are huge, because they've never seen me in like tight clothes. And I was so high, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, look at your arms. And I was like, uh-huh. And then all of a sudden I hear one of them go like, smells skunky in here. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then I was like, the fucking valet guys are over there. I think one of them smoking outside.
Put it on them.
Yeah.
Because one of them he had been smoking something. So I saw it as I was walking in, and I was like, I'm blaming that guy for everything.
That's awesome.
And then I ran to the elevator and shot that bitch up to the 9th floor. I was, give me went into my hotel room, put the like double latch over and everything, and I was like, you're safe. You don't have to go
Back to the door, huffing.
You
and
don't have to go out there anymore.
Yeah.
Would you say that's one of your most like uncomfortable high stories?
My armpits were sweating so bad. Because I've never been high and having to Look my boss, who we have a no drug policy. Like it is a hard no drug policy.
Scary.
But I was like, what are the odds? It's 9 floors in Nashville that we shouldn't cross paths.
Crazy.
In the lobby.
You're
I'm
safe.
just going to the gym, you know. And all of a sudden I hear Zach from the bar, and I'm like, shit.
He should have just kept going.
I was gonna be like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Stay away from me. Yeah,
That's hilarious, dude.
That's
Anyways,
awesome.
Paul, what's one of your like speaking of like high stories, like uncomfortable high stories? Do you or just like you've gotten too high where like, okay, this is gonna go down in memories. Do you have one?
Well, in honor of the Arnolds,
Yes.
I had a moment about, was it 3 years ago? 3 Arnolds ago? Yeah. Okay. So remember I told you guys earlier, my first experience of like going anywhere public after being a regular on the podcast, you know, it was like my first time experiencing people like wanting to take pictures of me and stuff like that.
I know this.
So yeah, I think you know this story, Nick.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say names, you know, out of respect to those involved. But got really baked with this one IFBB pro. We went to his room before the show. We all going to the finals. Fuad was doing the announcing with Arnold, so he's away. And I'm with some of the guys on the team. And this one pro was like, "Hey, you want to go back to my room? I got smoking resin."
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't smoke resin often. So I was like, yeah, sure, man. So we go back and hit it a couple times, and he's like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, hit it a couple more times." Hit a couple more times, and then we're like, "Okay, everyone ready to go?" And I'm walking like in this large group, like Ben Chow's with us, Justin Shire.
I was with you guys.
Were you there too, Nick? Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're walking to the show now, all of us, and you know, those guys are getting stopped to take pictures and stuff. So our group kind of gets a little bit broken up, and I find myself by myself all of a sudden, and I don't know where everyone's at. They've kind of moved on, and I'm high as fuck now. I can't even like feel my hands or my feet, nothing. I'm just tripping, and like I said, then people are starting to recognize me from the podcast.
Yeah.
People are like, hey, and I'm just on full on panic mode, and people are wanting to take
You
pictures.
have no backup.
Yeah, and I had dry mouth, so I can't even talk. I feel like, and you know when you got dry mouth, you're not sure if you got like the spit in your corner of your mouth or something. So I'm doing this
It's so
like
hard to get words out. Yeah.
and I'm completely tripped out. So and I'm trying to find these guys, and I can't find them. So I'm making my way to the show, freaking out the whole way. I stop. I call my wife. I'm like, "Babe, I'm having a fucking total panic attack right now. All these people want to take pictures with me. I'm fucking high. I can't find nobody. I'm by myself." And she's like, "Just breathe." So I'm like, trying to breathe it out in the corner. And then I see there's a bar. You know, there's that bar before you go inside for the Arnolds.
Oh, yeah.
So I go there. I order like 2 doubles, and I just slam them right there on the spot. Thinking, okay, I'll just calm myself down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I calm myself down a little bit, get myself composed a little bit. I find an usher. I give him my ticket and ask them if they can bring me to my seat. So they bring me to my seat. I'm thinking, okay, everyone's going to be there. I'll meet up with everyone again now. They're not there. So I sit down, and it's just like 4 or 5 seats next to me. And those guys, I don't know where they're at. So I'm just by myself. So I'm sitting there for a few minutes, and all of a sudden a group of guys comes in and sits down next to me. And one of them is Victor Martinez.
Shut up.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know Victor, but I know of him.
Vic.
You know, yeah, I don't know Victor personally yet, but I know who he is, obviously. And I know you know, Fuad knows him, and Guy knows him, and all these guys. So we're sitting down next to Victor, and I'm just making small talk. I'm like, "Yeah, what do you think of so-and-so on stage, you know, whatever." And then he looks at me. He's like, "Aren't you on a podcast?" So yeah, I'm on Fuad's podcast. He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "I know you are." And we start partying, Victor and I. We start ordering drinks. I got my pen. We're hitting my pen. We're getting all fucked up now.
He saved
And
you.
then I was been texting those guys earlier to be like, you know, "Hey, you know, where are you guys at?" Trying to find them. So they know I'm freaking out. They know that I'm way too high right now, so they're kind of getting worried about me. So Victor's like, "Hey," he's like, "You want to come up closer with me?" He's like, "I'm giving away trophies. Why don't you come up there with me?" I'm like, "All right." So me and Victor walk up to the front with our drinks in our hand, walk right by Nick, Ben, Justin, they're all right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fucking sick.
Paul,
dude.
the story that I posted today, that picture of you and me, that was from that night.
Was that same night?
That was from that night. Yeah, bro. Because that
wild.
drink that was in my hand, I must have gone up to the bar too then at that point, because I think Justin and I were having bets, and we kept having to buy each other drinks. That was that night. I swear to God,
That was a great night. Yeah, because Justin
was fun.
was there too. So
Yes,
that was a great night.
yes.
Yeah. Everything got much better after that.
That's
that was
fucking
good.
sick.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Victor Martinez, I think of that 07 photo, and he just looks
so
fucking
round.
wild.
One of the
What a
roundest
great look,
bodybuilders.
Yeah, Victor. He looks to this day. He looks like he can get on the Olympia stage.
Yeah.
He looks fucking amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy you mentioned that name. Not to get off topic. Sorry. When I worked at a GNC in college, just selling supplements because it was a commission job. But we actually had this was when I was just starting to kind of dip my toes into like learning about bodybuilding and stuff like that. So looking at like some of the great bodybuilders, I was thinking of like Dexter Jackson, Phil Heath, Victor Martinez, Dennis Wolf, those kind of guys, right? And GNC had just gotten an agreement for Victor Martinez to come to our GNC store, and he did a full day with our manager, and I was so excited about it. And I asked my manager, I'm like, dude, what was it like, hanging out with, Victor Martinez? Dude almost won a Mr. Olympia, you know what I mean? And he's like, dude, I have never seen a guy eat that much fucking steak in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, he said that like they just spent the whole day together. They were doing like photo shoots, supplement stuff. They took him to a gym and they took him out to eat, but they said like every hour and a half, he just had like an alarm go off and he's like, hey, I got to like get like 6 to 8 ounces of like meat in me like right now.
Really?
Dude, that's crazy.
Like he just said, he's like, I've never seen anyone eat that much fucking food in like one afternoon. And I was like, dude, that's so cool.
That's awesome,
that
man.
was like one of the first people I'd ever like seen in person that
Yeah.
was like a pro bodybuilder. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big
Yeah.
fucking name.
Yeah.
That's
He's a really chill guy, very nice guy.
You want to know who else I love that's in the bodybuilding scene, Paul, but like not a bodybuilder, is Carlos Thomas, not Junior, but his dad.
Oh man, I love Carlos Thomas Sr.
Dude, his dad is awesome.
He's the best. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see him. We'll be seeing him next week.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be great.
And Detroit too. They're coming to Detroit. Carlos is competing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. I love Mr. Thomas.
You guys have a hell of a showing. We just saw me and Zach were talking before. We saw that Jack Eagles guy just submitted. I mean, what a fucking wild frame.
Yeah, him and Wesley Vissers are doing classic. Bonac and Hollingshead and Open. Carlos. We got a great lineup. I'm getting really excited for the show now.
Paul, think about that. Detroit Pro last year was already a huge success. Okay, you guys had the entire industry talking about how good the photos were with the black backdrop
looked great.
and how
Give Fuad credit.
dude, 100%, and like how the entire time it was the athletes felt like on top of the world, like they were treated so well. Everybody loved Detroit Pro. You don't think you could have gotten better from last year with the lineup, with how things went? This year, your guys' lineup is the
insane.
biggest names in the fucking world.
You have an Arnold champ in there.
At your second year of Detroit Pro.
Yeah.
Our goal with the Detroit was to make it like one of the top shows in the world. We want it to be the bodybuilder show to do.
Well, it's becoming that.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
becoming that.
It's awesome. It's with me and Fuad, when we first started promoting, it's been 16 years now since me and Fuad has been competing together promoting together in Canada. Is when we started. Right from day one, I mentioned Nimrod King earlier, the guy who got me into judging. Nim used to promote shows. Nim's shows were off the hook. They were the best shows around. He put them on in awesome theaters. He'd give away the craziest prizes. His shows, he'd bring in awesome guest posers. They were events. You'd love going to Nim shows. And I competed in Nim shows, and so did Fuad. And that's from day one, that's what we said. We're going to do exactly how Nim did it. We're going to do it about the athletes, and we're going to put on a great fucking show. We're not going to get rich off promoting shows. That's not our intention with this. We just want to build something, a great bodybuilding show that people are going to love to come to every year and people are going to love to compete at. And that was always been our goal. Even with this, like, we're not going to make putting on the Detroit Pro isn't going to make any of us rich.
Yeah.
We're just trying to break even if that sometimes. But we want to make an event that people want to come to and people want to compete in because it's so awesome.
How
yeah.
fulfilling
Oh,
is it
dude.
seeing like bodybuilding take off as so much more than it has ever in the past like 5 years?
It's awesome. And there's so much young talent coming in, and the different categories. Classic has made it so much more exciting for men. The women's categories, the new ones, wellness, the new one coming in this year, it's made it very exciting. I think it's growing huge. I've had the opportunity the last couple of years to judge in a couple of different countries. I mentioned England last year. I also got to judge a show in Mexico last summer, a amateur show. And like the crowds are, people like the crowds are crazy, man. Like in England, I've never seen crowds like that. These people love bodybuilding. And it's getting bigger everywhere. I think Brazil's a huge market. It's opening up now. India loves bodybuilding. Like I think it's getting big. I think we're just seeing the growth of it now.
The fan base in India is astronomically bigger than
Huge.
here. Yeah.
Huge.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that big.
Yeah.
Damn.
Massive.
Oh man, Indian culture, like they love muscle. Like I work at the border, right? I work in commercial, so I only work with truck drivers, and a lot of truck drivers in Canada are of Indian descent.
Yeah.
These guys love me, man. I swear to God, it's always like, yeah, and not so much now. Like when I was younger and I was a little bit bigger, like I would always be like, they'd always be like, man, I love your muscles. Like all the drivers would always like compliment me on that. Like they love muscle.
Fuck
Paul,
yeah,
would you
that's
get that in Mexico?
Mexico, yeah, Mexico. They love muscle there too because they don't see it there. It's something they don't see.
Yeah.
You know, in the U.S. You guys see it a lot more. Even I see it in Canada.
When I'd go to Mexico, I'd be walking, and the employees would just put their hand on me. It was so weird.
They call you Rambo.
That was in 2022, and like I was a small fuck in 2022.
Yeah, but like your average Mexican person is pretty small in stature usually.
Yeah.
So you're like a monster walking around there.
You know,
Imagine now, Nick.
Oh God, don't even that. Don't.
I feel like in the States there's so much ego with even fat people.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So like in India and like Mexico and like Brazil, they get so hyped about it because it's just cool to see like these super in shape people. In fucking the U.S., people just get like mad. They're like, "Why are you so in shape?
Yeah.
Right.
Why are you better than me?"
Yeah.
And then you go to these other countries, they're like, muscle, like,
dude,
you're like, fuck yeah.
There's more of a respect for it, I find, in
Right,
other countries.
right.
Maybe it's just my perception, but it seems like more of a respect for how you take care of yourself and what you put in to build your body.
1,000%, for sure. 1,000%. Yeah. Okay. A question we had too. So this podcast obviously has been we've kind of taken you along our friendship journey. It's played a lot into our like lives and getting us on track a little bit as people. So we obviously love your guys' podcast. How has that kind of played into your life? How has it been just like being able to, not many adults like in our, as we're getting older and older, get to just hang out with their buddies for like an hour, at least an hour a week. How does it play in for you?
I wish we could do what you guys do though in person. That's the only thing I wish we could do.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. But it would be cool if we could all just sit in a room together and do it once a week, and hang out. But this is the next best thing, I guess. But no, it's awesome, man. Like it's something I look forward to every week because like it's entertaining for me too. And I like the topics that we talk about. We always have a great laugh, which I love laughing. I love. So yeah, it's awesome to be on there and to do that and have these guys to talk with. And then once in a while when we do get together, it's even better because it's like, okay, cool, we get to hang out now.
Bro, that's when the filters really come off.
Yeah, right, for sure. And that's and because unfortunately Mike can't be there this weekend, but everyone else is going to be there this weekend, so we're all going to get a chance to hang out.
Awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Dinner's gonna be wild on Sunday.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a good time.
I'm looking forward to it so much.
Yeah, Samson, get to see Samson again too.
Yeah.
Martin,
Yeah, you guys are gonna have the full squad.
You guys
there.
got the fucking best athletes.
This is the year we should have gone.
Yeah,
Bro,
damn
that's
it,
what I'm
Bill.
saying.
Yeah.
We went last year.
It's cool. Like especially like I haven't seen anybody since last year now. Like I haven't seen Ben, Samson, any of those guys for a little while now. Probably since maybe the last Arnold's, I forget. Sometime around there though. So it's been about a year.
Damn.
Yeah, we went last year and it was a little overwhelming, and we also brought.
That was your first time.
We also brought a demon woman.
Bro,
his ex-girlfriend came along and it ruined everything.
Those are girls
man.
are coming to the Arnold.
We kind of got a bad taste in our mouth while we were there.
and last year, because we had the booth last year.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend was with them the entire time because I was at the booth, and so she didn't like her either, and she was like, so I'd see these guys, them all walk by the booth, and I would just see their faces looking miserable as fuck.
That
and I'm over here
sucks.
having a blast, and I'm like, oh, their first Arnold too? No.
Oh, that sucks. This girl, she doesn't watch this podcast, does she?
Even if she does, I don't give a shit if she does.
Maybe not. Who knows? Anyway,
That's
I was
awesome.
gonna say next show we're going to. We are doing the Detroit Pro because
Yeah.
I mean we're so this year we
that's
decided.
huge.
we're
excited for that
Wisconsin,
one.
so it's only a
Awesome.
couple hour
Yeah.
drive.
I was
Make
gonna
a day
say
trip
we can pick up an ounce or two and go see some of
Yeah.
the best bodybuilders in the world.
See
say
Wesley.
hi.
Hey, they got some great dispensaries in Detroit too. And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
little. It's called Monroe, right outside
Monroe?
of Detroit. That's a place to go. Like as soon as you get off the highway, man, there's like 10 stores all in a row. And they all like compete with each other, so they got great prices, great products.
Fuck yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, I love going to that little town. That's right. We'll be hitting there next week for sure. If we're on the way to Ohio.
Oh yeah.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
That'd be
Awesome.
sick.
Okay, we're moving on to kind of some rapid fire things. What would be your ideal cheat meal after a show? What was your go-to?
Oh shit.
Oh man, burgers or pizza. One of those are my two favorites.
Fuck yeah.
And cookies.
What kind of pizza? And cookies. What kind of pizza? What do you order on your pizza?
Well, my kids, they because whenever I get it, I got to get something for the kids too.
Right.
They're big pepperoni. So usually what I'll do is a half pepperoni, half super. Super, Have like bacon, pepperoni, mushrooms, green peppers. I think that's usually the norm on it.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loaded.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. All right, next one. Would you say you've had more fun judging some competitive like national NPC shows or some of the pro judging show? Like, what's more fun for you? Is it seeing the up and coming or?
I love judging the pro qualifiers. But I've only had judged one pro qualifier so far, and that's where I want to get more experience as a judge in that space there. I want to head judge some pro qualifiers and then move into head judging pro shows too. But those are my two goals judging wise.
Awesome.
But I love being on the panel for pro qualifiers when it's like, because now that's, one person's getting a pro card on that stage, and there's a lot of weight in that decision. And especially bodybuilding is my passion. Category, obviously. So when it's close in that, like, I love being a part of that decision making.
Yeah, that's
so I would have to say that. Like the Super Show, Toronto Super Show, I've had some great moments at that show, great experiences.
Yeah.
Paul, who's your favorite who's your favorite bodybuilder of all time?
My favorite bodybuilder of all time? I guess I have to say Fouad Abiad, right?
I knew you were going to say that.
Hell yeah.
That was good.
Say it.
That was good.
You don't have to say it.
Next week we're going in a different direction.
We don't see Paul on the episodes anymore.
My contract's pulled. Fouad signed Zach.
For sure. The 90s was definitely Kevin Levrone.
Yes.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
He's been on a Kevin
yes.
kick.
He keeps sending Kevin Levrone edits in the group chat.
That is like, I think Kevin Levrone is just like some of those front shots with his arms and the fullness, and I just
Delts.
oh my god, I love
delts,
the way
bro.
he trained too. Like it was aggressive. It was fucking heavy. I send them hype up videos every day at like 5 o'clock, 1 hour before the gym, and it's just Kevin Levrone staring into the distance, incline barbell pressing 5-6 plates.
Yeah, strong as fuck too.
My God, I just think he had the craziest physique, the craziest.
His hands together, muscular. Fucking love that
Those
pose.
arms look unfucking real.
I the first time I saw him, like, I don't know if you guys ever heard. It used to be called American Muscle Magazine.
Okay.
It used to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
This is going back in the 90s when I first was getting into bodybuilding. It used to just randomly appear on ESPN. I wouldn't even know the schedule. I would always check out that channel to see if I could catch an episode. And once in a while I'd catch it. And I remember they had Levrone on there as an amateur when he was prepping for the NPC Nationals. Wow. And I remember they showed a quick video of him as an upcomer to watch for. I remember just being blown away at his physique, like just round, full muscle and, small joints and just perfect shape and awesome. Then I got a chance to see him in person. He guest posed at one of NIM shows here in Windsor. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him at that one, but I did get a chance to meet him. And in person, he was a lot smaller than I expected him to be. He wasn't a very big guy. Yeah, he wasn't a big guy. Like, he's kind of shorter. He's not that big frame, but then underneath it all, he's got this fucking crazy physique.
I was gonna say, how tall is Kevin Levrone? I guess I've never really looked.
I think he was like 5'6" or so.
Holy shit.
You know what?
And he looks wide.
I can't say shit. It's crazy. One of the craziest bodybuilders of all time.
Maybe he was 5'7", but he definitely wasn't much more than that.
Really?
And like, he looked like he's got great taper. His physique had great taper to it. But in person, like with a sweater on, you didn't really see it. Like, he didn't have those he had like Jay wide shoulders.
Yeah.
Like Jay looks like a fucking monster in person still. Like, he didn't have that kind of shock size to him in person. But underneath it though is physique.
It's funny you bring that topic up because when we were at the Arnold last year, it was kind of our first time being up close. Like, we got to like actually get up close to some of the big guys. And the first thought we all had when we walked around the corner and saw Derek Lunsford is, he's a lot shorter in person. I was like, you just imagine like NBA players, NFL stars. When you see them in person, they're like 6'9",
take your breath
300
away.
Monsters.
pounds. Yeah, and you're like, that's not human. And then you come around the corner and you kind of have to like aim your eyes down a little. Look down a little bit, and you're like, oh, there he is.
Some guys in person just aren't as impressive, at least as they are in photos.
And it's not the fact that they're not, once they take it off, and then you see what's really there. But when you see them in clothes, you're just kind of like, huh.
Nick Walker.
That's what it looks like, huh? Yeah.
Have you guys seen Nick Walker in person?
Zach literally just
we
said
were
that.
sitting at
first,
finals and we saw him walk. Like in the Arnold like finals area where they have those hallways and the lighting's kind of dim because it's super dark in there.
Yeah.
He was walking by and he had a tight ass polo on.
Yeah.
And the dude looked fucking
huge.
swole.
All of us were talking, and then we went silent.
Yeah.
You just saw us
Yeah.
like our heads just turning with him walking by.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's super big in person.
Oh my god.
There's a few guys that really stood out to me over the years that I've seen in person that blew me away. Like Nick's definitely one of them. Kai Green, my first time seeing Kai in person
Really?
was
Kai's still
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Jay, when Jay was at his peak, was fucking massive, man, because he had such wide shoulders. He was just huge in person.
I have a question for you. Who's more prominent in person? Because you got Jay, and Jay's right at the top of the list. I mean, dude, freaking Mr. Olympia. Then you have, our current Mr. Olympia, Samson.
Samson's impressive in person.
Bro, because people
Samson's
don't realize
arms.
how crazy Samson is in person. You guys got to see Samson last year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get to see him in person?
He won.
Well, yeah, but like, were we like next to him?
Oh, I don't know if we ever got close enough to like see
Not the
him that
booth either?
close.
No.
No.
I've trained with Samson a couple times, and man, it's so humbling because like I've had to spot him before, like on lat pull downs, for example, and I'm like looking at this guy, and I'm like, I feel like a child literally next to him, and I'm like, how am I supposed to spot this this guy? Like this is ridiculous. Like this, it just looks ridiculous to me. Like I'm trying to spot Samson, but I did legs with him last year too, him and Mel, and they killed me. They absolutely destroyed me. It was an honor to train with them no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, training with Samson, I'm just like, Jesus, this guy, he's so fucking big.
Yeah.
And he's just, but it's all put together in the right places. You know what I mean? Like his waist is like my waist, and I'm a fat old man. He's like a 330 pound, fucking bodybuilding god. And his waist is like, tinier than mine. It's nuts.
I think Samson has more of that freak factor look with clothes on than anybody I've seen.
We walked by. I was going to highlight one. Andrew Jack.
Andrew Jacked was
he's impressive.
There was like a giant slowly making his way by us. And I was like, he was wearing a black hoodie with the hood up too.
Yeah.
So he was just walking by in all black, and we were like, Jesus fucking
Yes.
Christ.
I first time I saw him was last year in the UK at the
Really?
expo. He came to the hostile booth, and I remember I was just like, holy fuck, is he big?
Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah.
I took a picture with him when he turned pro at the Arnold Amateur. I think it was 2021 or 2022.
Oh, really?
And that's before he like blew up. But even back then, it was like it's that shadow. It's that fucking what. But then it's so weird because you see him next to Samson on stage, and then he's exposed like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. He's just so tall.
No, I know, but like
Yeah.
it's he's got such a crazy freak factor.
That's a scary competitor, though, dude. We talk about it every time we talk about a pro show, and we talk about like the top 5 at a big one.
Yeah.
Every single one of us, every time, is like, dude, if Andrew shows up, I mean, he can fucking move people.
Should we go into our Arnold predictions?
Yeah.
Are your picks solidified, Paul?
No, we're doing a podcast, I think, tomorrow night, and that's when we're going to put our final picks in.
You want to
give
picks
us
right
your
now?
Yeah. The top 5?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
If I can remember correctly, I definitely got Samson winning no matter what.
Yep.
I have Derek in second, Andrew in third. I think did I have James in fourth and Carlos in fifth, or vice versa.
Oh, you got Carlos top 5.
I got Carlos top 5 right now, but who else was in there now? I forget.
Brandon
Isn't
Curry.
Hottie doing
Is
it?
Akeem doing this
Brandon
one?
Curry, that's right. He's
Brandon
the one that
Curry.
really
Oh,
fucks me
yeah.
up. Brandon, I don't know what to do with Brandon. I got him and Carlos fighting for 5, 6. Even James in that mix with those guys. I can't remember what I put right now. I'm going to finalize mine tomorrow night. But out of those 3, and Akeem's in that mix too, right?
Yep. And he's been coming in pretty spot on too. He's been on a roll.
Akeem's physique, yeah.
Is Bonak doing the Arnold?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bonak's doing it too?
Yes.
He's always scary.
He can always show up, dude.
He won that
Yeah.
thing 2 times, didn't he? How many
Yeah.
times did he win it? Twice?
Yeah, and I got a couple seconds in there too.
Yeah.
I can see Bonak winning against Brandon Curry for sure.
Me too.
I personally like Brandon's physique better, but
so do I.
I
The
can see
waist-
William beating him.
waist.
I like his physique better. It flows better. It has more of an
Fullness.
aesthetic, but like
Fullness.
the detail for Brandon's not there when you compare him to Bonak.
I
What's in
know.
the legs for sure.
What's your
Definitely the
prediction?
legs.
What is your prediction for the Derek Samson rematch? Like,
Yeah.
where do you think?
To
it's
me, no disrespect to Derek. I don't think it's close.
What does Derek
Really?
need to
I don't want Derek to win.
But I'm going back with Derek looked like at last Olympia. If Derek
Yeah.
comes in with a fuller look to the lower body, especially, that could be a different story.
Yeah.
But going back from what I know Derek looked like last year, and from what I've seen from Samson this year, and from what I've seen from Derek in the updates, I don't think it's going to be close myself, but
Not at all.
Samson gives so many updates. It's so
Yeah.
great. Like
Yeah.
you get to just watch him grow week by week by week.
It's crazy.
Whereas some of those other guys, you're just like, going off what they used to look
His
like.
posterior
I guess, you know.
is insane.
everything Samson does is against the norm. You know, like doing the France show before the Olympia last year. Like nobody would have thought that was a good idea.
Taking his shirt off the night before.
Yeah.
He ended up winning the whole thing. People were ripping on him for it.
People lit him up the
Yeah.
night before for taking his shirt off, and they're like, he's not going to even be like top 5, and then all of a sudden he wins the show.
Paul, did you know that he was never gonna originally do that?
What, take his shirt off?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. No.
So it was me and Mel sitting in the crowd at the press conference, and me and Mel are just talking shit, just talking about anything. They're up there, and then Mel's like, yo, this is getting, like, really boring. And I could tell she was getting some, like, anxiety. And I'm like, Mel, I hope they don't ask them to take their shirts off. And so I asked Mel, I'm like, do you think Samson would do that? And she's like, no, not a chance. She's like, no, he wouldn't do that. But Samson fucking did it because it was getting so boring at the press conference. Because
Really?
he texted Fuad. He's like, yo, ask me an interesting question. So Samson went into that press conference not going to take his shirt off, not going to show anything, but stirred that fucking pot like a pro and got everybody talking and then shut everybody up the next day.
That's awesome.
It was crazy because like Mel's face when he took his shirt off was just like, she like was covering up her eyes. She's like, oh, what the fuck did he just do?
Well, like I think one thing that Samson and Mel together have seem to have conquered is they don't give a shit what people say about them.
No.
No, not no more.
Maybe at one time it might have gotten to Samson a bit more, but man, he has blown past that where he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah,
and it's obviously benefiting him.
Because he's the king of the hill now.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're the
he
best
is.
in the world. What's there to say?
Yeah, now they got to come after you.
Yeah. You are.
You own it.
You are the show.
Yeah, but like for some people, I think all that added pressure going into Olympia with changing your coach, doing what he did the night before. For some people, that might have affected you negatively. All that negative feedback that you're getting from it, but he just blew past that and kicked everyone's ass anyways.
That's awesome.
That entire week, he was so even keel.
Probably got to be like you're doing it with your wife. Like,
Yeah.
what a good time, like,
Bro,
good
he was,
combo.
yeah.
And I think that's why he made the decision he did, because I think Mel's that calming person in his life. It's Samson. He's very new to the sport, kind of in some way. He didn't come up the traditional ways, like through the NPC, making alliances and networks as he goes along in the sport. He kind of came as an outsider, so it's probably hard for him to trust anybody. But he knows Mel's got his back. It probably puts him at ease and calm.
Do you think you need to come up that way and like make those? Because I've heard someone else say this before. Like you need to play the game of the NPC. You need to get to know the judges. You need to get to. Do you think you have to, or if you just train hard, stay locked in, and
I think. Sorry to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
I think it's natural for people to think to play the game, and maybe that's a formula that has worked, not just in our sport and other sports in the past. That's probably a successful strategy to follow. But when you make yourself so good that you can't be denied anymore, and that's what Samson did, he made himself so good that they couldn't ignore him, they couldn't deny him.
Not even. Yeah, you're exactly right. But I got in an argument with a female bodybuilder one time about that, and we were like going at it because I was like, I don't need to get to know those people. If I show up with the best physique on stage, then I should get to where I need to go. And she's like, no, you need to play the game. They'll always go with people they know better. I'm like, if they're good judges, they shouldn't be judging off who I am or what my social media is.
100%.
Yeah, right.
And I can't speak for the past. I'm a fairly newer pro judge still.
Right.
I can't speak about how things were in the past. And I've heard similar things to what you said. I've heard those things too. And, and maybe that's a perception that people have. Maybe some of it's true. Maybe some of it's not. I don't know. But I can tell you now, like for the conversations I've had with the top judges in the sport, Tyler, Bill, Jack, all the top guys right now coming up, everybody just wants what's best for the sport. And there's no influences in any way. Everyone's doing this for the right reasons. They want to do the best they can, and they want the sport to advance as much as possible.
Because the sport is so subjective, like people that don't know the intricacies of the sport and judging, they almost look for a reason for it to be political. Fans from the outside, just because they don't understand what you're looking for. They don't understand the how close it is at times.
And that's what I think Tyler's done a phenomenal job of opening up that transparency, like with these breakdowns he does after shows. Like that's amazing that he's doing that. He doesn't have to do that. No. He's doing that because exactly with those reasons. He wants to educate people on what we're looking for, so we're eliminating some of this skepticism or unfounded beliefs. So I commend him for doing that. Also, I think on the podcast, Fu has made a conscious effort to educate people about bodybuilding too. Yeah. And that's why he tries to, when we explain what we're looking at and the terms we use in bodybuilding, he tries to explain so everybody can understand what those terms mean. Like when we say the lines on a physique, the average person doesn't know what that means. Yeah. But in bodybuilding terms, we know exactly what that means. It's just clean separations between muscle groups, that striations and separations and whatnot. But everyone doesn't know that. So Fu has made a really good point, I think, of breaking down those terms so everyone understands, the average person understands what bodybuilding is and what we're actually looking for.
And that's one of the best things that has came from social media within the industry. Is that right there? Yeah. Is the understanding of the sport now.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And I think with transparency, comes integrity. And that's what every sport, not just our sport, needs.
That's 100%. Huge.
I think that is huge. I'm glad we got to ask him about that because I didn't have that written down, but that was such a great thing to touch on because I'm
big on integrity for the sport because there's other organizations, and if there's integrity isn't maintained, someone else will come and take that away. The athletes have to be judged fairly. There can't be biases.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to turn people away from the sport.
Absolutely. It's like boxing got to be for a while, where no one watched boxing anymore, because it seemed like it was fixed. Yeah. No one's going to watch bodybuilding if they think it's predetermined results.
Yeah. It's not fun that way. There's not like a shock factor to it or like an upset that could happen because it's scripted.
And you're not going to draw new people to the sport when they don't see a way of succeeding in it unless they get to be friends with the right people.
A common theme that I've seen is like the people that have the most to say about that shit are the people that are making excuses for usually why things aren't going the way they want them to go.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
an athlete that doesn't have a good showing, or a coach that is now blaming the politics because their athletes shit the bed, when it was a coaching issue or the athlete issue the entire time. The people with the most to say are the ones that have the biggest egos.
This relates for lots of the Chiefs right now, I think. I think that's what it is, though, because I feel like now more than ever we're hearing, oh, it's rigged. Oh, the refs love the Chiefs because they're winning, but in all actuality, they're just that good.
Right. They just know how to win.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Mahomes fan either, but man, that guy wins.
He can win. He can make
all
plays. In that Super Bowl versus Tampa, he was making these impossible plays.
Yeah.
And they were almost hidden. And it's like, what if they did hit? Because he's that good.
Well, have you guys been following this latest NHL versus NBA kind of all-star game?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and I think look at these. The difference is people watch the NHL game because the athletes actually gave a damn and were playing their hearts out. Yep. Whereas maybe that doesn't happen so much at the moment, at least in the NBA All-Star game. Yeah, so people want authenticity. People want what's real. They don't want to be,
Well, that's why they got rid of the Pro Bowl actual game and made it just flag football. Because none of the linemen were going hard at all because they didn't want to get injured.
Yeah.
They wouldn't tackle. They would just wrap them up, and they're like, what are we even doing wearing pads?
Yeah, because nobody wants to risk an injury. And I get that from a business standpoint, a money standpoint, but fans aren't going to pay them to watch that either.
No.
Did you watch Canada-USA the other night?
Yeah, I did,
Fucking terrific.
How'd that feel? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not with this whole Trump stuff. I'm all for more security and stuff like that. I think Canada's, our government has, well, I'm not getting into politics, but
no, let's get into it, baby. Let's get into it.
We got all day, baby.
NHL.
Trudeau.
Trudeau, yeah.
Fuck Trudeau, dude.
I love Americans. I love the U.S. And if we become 51st state, I'm all for it. But anyways,
that's funny. I endorse Paul.
I just love watching great competition. That was a great competition. That was a great game to watch.
It was. We are very casual NHL fans, if not never. And I went to a school that the hockey was huge at, so watched it sometimes. But man, was it fun to get back into hockey. You forget how electric that sport is. It's so fun to tune in when there's a huge game like that.
For sure.
The hometown that I grew up in was massive in hockey. And our dome in Eagle River, it's the world. It's just the only last wooden dome original in the entire fucking world.
Yeah,
is Eagle River. Oh yeah,
small town Wisconsin hockey teams are crazy.
And there's like this league that was actually pretty freaking good. Like our beer league team, it's called the Falcons, and our student section at the student games were freaking wild. It's so much fun. Okay, and there's like we would sneak drinks in, fucking run away when we'd almost get busted, shit like that. But our Falcons games were bad. Like I'm sorry, like we broke the boards one time by slamming our feet against the cheer, shattered it. They had to pause the game to replace the boards.
Yeah, I've seen that.
People were throwing quarters out on the ice, and people were fucking breaking ankles on them, dude.
Oh, my
It was so fucking bad. And it was rough. Mostly for like the other team, the away team.
Yeah.
Because they would get fucking abused by our fans, bro. They would come through this one portion to go downstairs into the locker rooms, and there'd be fans that'd be throwing beers at them, fucking just bouncing off helmets and shit. Yeah, it was terrible, but such a fun time.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Nick's just in
Hockey
the
is
crowd.
different,
Fuck
bro.
You guys ever watch Slapshot, the movie?
Dude, that's an old movie.
It's old.
Yeah.
It's old, but
Holy
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in 20 years myself. I don't know if it'll still be funny now. But it's all
legendary
about that.
movie.
Like it's all about that hockey culture. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I was at a small town in Wisconsin Rapids, and that was the first time I experienced something like that.
Yeah.
My buddy was like, "Hey, you want to get high and go down to the local hockey game?" And I was
Sure.
like, "Local hockey game? I was like, yeah, what?" And he was like, "Yeah, they're like a semi-pro team," and we went. It was the same shit. Some dude just put his elbow through one of
Yeah.
the
Really?
glass things because they were cheering so loud, and he just fucking put his elbow through it.
Jesus.
They were going to town, but anyways,
We had pond hockey. We'd have Russian teams come over to Eagle River.
Really?
We'd have Russian, Europeans. And so there's this, because my hometown, Paul, there's fucking hundreds of lakes around it. They're connected. Beautiful, beautiful area. And there's this one lake. It's massive. There'll be fucking 100,000 people out on the ice watching hockey because the entire lake is just segmented with their own hockey rinks that they've made on the lake. And it's the biggest drunk fest, party fest, on the lake hockey game. Like, I mean, you can fit 100,000 people when the ice is 4 foot thick, you know?
Lacrosse is famous for that too, right?
Yeah,
They have
yes.
that, like big tournament.
Yes,
there.
dude. And these, like, the Russian, I remember specifically the Russians would fight, even though the women's teams, bro, the women's teams would fight like crazy.
Really,
It was
eh?
such a different, it's completely different than American hockey culture. It was pond hockey.
I never played hockey. I have some friends who did though, and all the guys that I know that were former hockey players are the wildest guys.
Great.
They're the guys who party the hardest. They're the guys who fight all the time. Like it's hockey culture is different.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so we got last couple things, Paul. We've had you for 2 hours, so I appreciate you taking all this time.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
So final thoughts on the Arnold in this upcoming season. Some predictions you got. Your top three. Why not?
Top three predictions for the Arnold or for the whole?
Nope. Top three predictions for 2025 bodybuilding.
Samson repeats as Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Keon does an open show,
Yeah.
which I think will be awesome. I'm really
Fuck
that's
yes.
more of a that might be more of a wish than a prediction.
Yeah.
Let's see. The last one, I think Sam Sulek will do very well at the Arnold's, but I don't think he's going to be ready for his pro card yet. I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll make a really good national pro qualifier debut.
What does he need to do?
I think he just needs more muscle.
Okay.
Just more muscle right now. I think he's got the shape, he's got the frame, and he's probably not going to be able to stay in classic either.
I was gonna say, isn't he
Yeah,
at his
open.
weight cap? He's like at it right now.
He's at it right now, and maybe he could have been a touch harder. I don't think his condition was good. But yeah, with his frame, he's in the way he likes to train. He's not going to be able to stay in classic. I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's going to have to make a decision and maybe put on even more tissue before coming back as an open bodybuilder. But Sam's a very realistic kid and very humble, and he's very dedicated. He loves bodybuilding. I think he'll get there. I think he'll be a good bodybuilder
Fuck yeah.
one day.
You get to be part of that decision too. That's
Oh, yeah.
I'm
you
fucking
could've done
excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell
Fuck yeah.
I'm really excited about. I really like Sam. I think, like I said, I think he's a really nice kid. I really like. I watch his videos myself. I think he's awesome. So I'm looking forward to judging him on stage. I watched his first show. I found all the videos I could find. I watched his comparisons and everything, and I think his posing could be a bit better. But for first time guy, it was good.
better.
But he's bringing a level of excitement to the amateurs that hasn't been there probably since Andrew Jacked a few years ago.
Very true.
Fuck yeah.
What's Sam's best pose, do you think?
He's got a nice side chest.
Yeah, I was about
Okay.
to say side chest.
He vacuums well too.
Yeah,
the vacuum looks good on him.
That is a very rare thing to find, I think.
It is. It's a hard thing to find the vacuum looking good on your physique, and it looks good on his.
Yeah.
So his front double bi can become a stronger pose as he learns to bring his his arms up more and flare his lats out more,
Yep.
and as he grows into that pose.
That's awesome.
Do you wish amateurs would take posing more seriously with how they present their physique on stage?
Yeah, I think when guys get to the next level, when they get to the pro qualifier level, they start to understand how important it is, and they'll start to put the time, if it's needed, necessary into it. But
Yeah.
I've seen some people over the years. Again, I don't want to mention anyone's name, but there's this one amateur from Canada who's got a phenomenal physique, and the guy never went pro because he could never control his waist. He never. I don't think he ever put the time in to really learn how to control his stomach well enough, and it was the detriment to his physique, and
Yep.
How hard
never
is it
did
to
get
do
his
some
pro card.
vacuums in the morning? Like if that's gonna separate you from a pro card, you know?
Right. I understand to a certain level. Like when I was competing, like there's only so much time in a day, and your focus is on your training for number one.
Yeah.
And then you gotta work on your posing. You gotta work on your maybe work a full-time job. Maybe you got a girlfriend. Maybe you got other things going on in your life. It's hard to balance everything. I understand that posing could be something that's left behind, and some people are naturally great posers. They don't need the
Yeah.
work that much, but some do. So I can understand how it gets put on the back burner. But when you're that close, and like this guy should have been pro years ago, and he would have been a good pro, I believe.
Yeah.
But he just didn't put the time in, I don't think, to control that stomach the way it needed to be. And never got his pro card because of it.
Damn.
That's
Shame.
tough.
Shameful.
But to everybody out there, posing can be the 1% difference that almost
can
gets
be.
you there. Yeah.
It
That-
can
yeah,
be.
100%.
And stomach control, huge,
Yeah, stomach. Oh my
which
God.
goes along with it.
Yeah, throughout the transitions too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Judges are going to notice that, and they're going to notice from show to show if you made changes to your posing like they suggested.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
All right, Paul. Last question, and then we'll get a final thoughts as a group. Your go-to after a long day of judging, your go-to dinner or munchie of choice.
Yeah, what are you doing after your judging days?
Do you celebrate with? Go ahead.
What I've been trying to do is a lot of times I get into this bad habit of I've been judging all day and not really eating. So I'm not eating enough during the day, and I'll just try to get all those calories in that last meal before bed after a long show. So I'll eat like fucking cheeseburger, fries, dessert, just.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then I feel like shit and I look like shit. My stomach's all bloated.
Take some Tums, you'll be fine. Take some Tums.
So I've been trying to be better. So my go-to lately has been steak and frites.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice.
Get a nice
Nice.
plate of steak and fries, and
Fuck yeah. Fuck
maybe an
yeah.
app with it.
How do you like your fries?
Crispy, crispy with ketchup.
Nice.
I do like vinegar on them too.
Ooh.
Vinegar.
A little malt vinegar.
Really?
Yes, try it. Little malt vinegar, salt, and ketchup.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
try that.
All
That's
right.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Just don't make them soggy. Don't go overboard with it.
Right,
Okay.
Just
right.
a little bit. Toss them around a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Shit,
great
man.
like that.
That's a new one.
Well, that's awesome, Paul. Once again, we appreciate you so much. So
Hey,
we
my
always
pleasure.
we always give the listeners like a final thought for the week. So you can lead us off. What's one last thing you can leave the listeners with?
Oh man, well, we are the weather's starting to change a little bit here, and I saw the temperatures of Columbus this week are looking a little bit warmer. So I'm excited about the spring coming around the corner. So let's get out of this shit winter it's been, because it's been cold as hell here.
Yeah.
And move on to some better times again. I was a little bit down there. Had a bit of like the winter blues there a couple weeks ago. a
Every
little
year,
bit.
dude.
Yep.
Every
Yeah,
year.
February, right?
The moment football ends, it hits me
Yeah,
every
it's like a train.
fucking year.
Yeah,
like
and
a
they just
train.
gray skies every day. I just get sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic. With the forecast that I saw with the Arnold's coming up, I'm optimistic that we're gonna roll into a nice, cool spring here. So
Awesome.
Fuck yeah.
build on that.
Travel safe while you're down there.
Thank
Stay
you.
away from all the scary people and
Yeah.
stick with the crew.
The scary people are my friends, unfortunately.
Stick closer to them.
Yeah, don't lose them. Do not lose them.
Zach, final thought for the week.
Thank you, Paul, for coming on. I think you left a lot of people with a lot of knowledge on not just bodybuilding, but other things in life, like friend groups, for example, and how important that can be.
Very true.
So, yeah, thank you for coming on. Hope to have you on again in the future. It would be huge.
Love to. Thank you.
and, yeah, go Samson.
You know,
Yes,
there's
go Samson.
definitely things that you said in this podcast that I really think people are going to implement within their seasons of their competitive season or their off season. But I think it's really cool that it came from somebody like Paul, an NPC, an IFBB judge, because I think that's our main goal with our podcast is transparency. We're transparent about a lot of life stuff and bodybuilding stuff, and that was one of the main things that we wanted to discuss with you. So I'm sure the listeners appreciate you a ton. And I honestly think that you're making a change inside the judging side of the sport. So you're doing great, man. It was an honor to have you on.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words, guys.
Lance?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off them, I'm a huge fan of getting to watch you guys on the podcast. So getting you as our second guest ever has been just an absolute honor. It's been a blast. I was fucking nervous all week long, but this has just been, it's been like shooting the shit with a buddy. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing some of the stories. Excited, hopefully, that, you guys get to meet up at the Arnold, whatnot. But yeah, it's just been a blast, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All the listeners, go to the Detroit Pro. Fucking go support these guys. They're putting together something crazy. I think it is going to be one of the biggest shows in just the next couple of years here that we're talking about with like the Arnold and Olympia. Like,
fuck yeah.
It's going to be a fucking blast to watch you guys grow. Thank you for being on your podcast. You guys have given us so much knowledge that we've taken away. You've also given us the confidence, I guess, to do this.
Can I add on the confidence part? So I told this story on the podcast a while ago. I used to listen to your guys' episodes before going on dates all the time.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, just to like give me some confidence, because like you guys would talk about like some funny shit, so I'm just like, oh, it gets me in the mood to like talk.
That's awesome, man. I never do. You're the first person I know that's used it for that purpose.
And it'll be the fucking last, Paul.
It won't be the last time.
He's one of a kind. Sorry about him. He goes back to his basement.
That's okay, man. That's okay. I hope
His default settings turn on.
I hope it's helped you.
No,
you've done good work.
But you guys are super big inspiration. So having you on here has been an absolute fucking pleasure. And for everybody listening, follow the D2 podcast. Follow Bro Chat. Keep up with these guys. If you see Paul next week at the Arnold, say hi to him. He's probably tripping. And we will catch you guys next week. We'll talk to you later.